spectacular evening here in Los Angeles as Dodger fans are on their way to the stadium. Dodger dogs for everybody here tonight. And who better to start the season against for the Dodgers than their arch rivals and the defending World Series champion, San Francisco Giants. Matt Kemp of the Dodgers are looking for better things here in 2011. It is time to put winter in your rear view mirror. Baseball is back.
Don't know why. Together.
You do not need to be on the roads. Don't venture out.
That's enough.
I want my spring.
Enough is enough. It's time for baseball.
Wherever you are, winter has been too long. You're getting pounded, and people are absolutely positively sick of it.
You know, waiting out those 4 months, and then spring comes, and then it's time for baseball to start back up.
I can't wait for baseball to come back. It's the last night of a World Series. I've been waiting for opening day 2011 because it's going to be a great season.
Getting the sun. Here comes right. It's coming. You feel it?
It is a special day, isn't it? Welcome to Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers and Giants in the first of a 4-game series in a game one of 162 for each of them. Opening night baseball on ESPN, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Los Angeles. Dan Schulman, Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser. What a game we've got for you. What a pitching matchup we've got for you. Let's begin with the Giants and a young man who just keeps adding to his credentials.
On the visiting side, Tim Lincecum, 08 Cy Young, 09 Cy Young. Last year, bad August took him out of that running, but the playoffs in September came and he carried these Giants. In game one against Atlanta, 14 strikeouts, beating Derek Lowe. Look at the depth on those pitches. Those are back this spring, and we'll see him in this opening start. Then in the World Series, game 5 against Texas, 10 Ks, beats Cliff Lee. Cliff Lee now with Philadelphia, but Texas was mowed down by Lincecum, and he was outstanding. Not a Cy Young, but a great pitcher, and he might win another one this year. I'll tell you what, with Clayton Kershaw on the other side, though, it's going to be tough. Kershaw, 23 years old, the youngest starter for the Dodgers since Fernando Valenzuela in 1983. Fernando, the last lefty in 88 to start, but these Dodgers have a young stud on the mound, and this young man can pitch. Maybe a Cy Young again this year.
So the Dodgers have a young stud on the mound. The Giants have not one, but you say 2 young studs in their lineup here tonight.
In the lineup, Dan, and in their first opening day in the major leagues. We have Buster Posey in his 4th year of professional baseball and the reigning Rookie of the Year in the National League. He could have been the MVP of the National League if he had a full season. You saw he missed 2 months of the season, but he still finished first in batting average and second and third in 4 other very important offensive categories. He's going to be joined by a slick fielding 6'5" left-handed hitter at first base in Brandon Belt. Bruce Bochy said this decision of making him the opening day first baseman was an easy decision. He's a special young player.
For the 10th time, it'll be the Giants and the Dodgers on opening day here on the West Coast. We're excited to bring it to you, excited to get the season going for these 2 teams, where we'll be back, by the way, for Sunday night baseball 3 nights from now. But first, it's opening night. Clayton Kershaw on his way in from the bullpen. The first pitch is coming up.
I love playing in LA.
It's fun. I mean, it's exciting. You know, there's so much energy in that stadium. The fans are very passionate.
The grass is as true as any ballpark in the game.
When you stop and think about just the players that have played there before you and the history, it's pretty incredible.
It's a great chance to keep living on that that Dodger tradition.
It's just an awesome place to play.
And there certainly is a lot of Dodger tradition. We just saw that firsthand here at the ballpark moments ago. Don Mattingly is the new first-year manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Here's some of the tradition we're talking about. That's Tommy Lasorda on the mound. And Fernando Valenzuela, 30 years ago, he electrified the Dodgers and all of baseball, really. Fernando Mania, as he throws the ceremonial first pitch to Jerry Royce, started 8-0 with 5 shutouts and an ERA of 0.50. Wouldn't Don Mattingly love to have a modern-day Fernando Valenzuela in his rotation? Big night for Don Mattingly. For more down to the field, here's Wendy Nix.
Dan, thank you. Mattingly told me before the game that he didn't sleep much last night, but he did sleep well, and perhaps with good reason. This may be a new job, but let's face it, it's one he's been preparing for quite some time. As we take a look at his storied resume, he was an MVP himself in 1985, hitting .324 with 35 home runs. Eventually, he would join Joe Torre's staff in New York, first as the hitting coach and then as the bench coach. Mattingly would follow Torrey West here in Los Angeles, also in the hitting coach role. And then on September 17, 2010, he was named the 27th manager in franchise history. Mattingly also told us if there's anything he wants to do in his debut season, it's instill in his team what it means to be a part of this franchise. To that end, he's asked some of the all-time greats like Steve Yeager and Sandy Koufax to come back, talk to the team, be around these players so that they understand and perhaps motivated, Dan, to be a part of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah, and it's not easy to get Sandy Koufax to come back and speak to the team, but Don Mattingly was able to do that. Bruce Bochy can probably get just about anybody to do anything after the job that he did last year, leading the San Francisco Giants to the World Series championship, and he had that kind of relaxed air about him today as we visited with him before the game. Let's check out the starting lineup for the Giants tonight, presented by Majestic. Torres, Sanchez, and Huff, holdovers from last year. Batting in the top third of the lineup, Buster Posey, the catcher, hitting cleanup. Pat Burrell in the lineup at left. Miguel Tejada is the new shortstop for the San Francisco Giants. Brandon Belt making his major league debut. They are awfully excited about him. Pablo Sandoval, about 40 pounds less of the Panda heading into the 2011 season. And Tim Lincecum is on the mound and batting ninth. On the mound for the Los Angeles Dodgers. If you're a Dodger fan, Orel, how can you not be excited about Clayton Kershaw?
Clayton Kershaw, 5 years professional, 3 years in the big leagues. Now at 23 years young, a very young starting pitcher for the Dodgers. First since Fernando, the youngest. And I'll tell you what, he needs to keep his walks down. That is his path to success. The walks go down, the Ks go up, and he's made a nice progression since 2008 from breaking the big leagues. And you can see down to 3.57. He'd like to make a dent in that again and step into the upper echelon of pitchers. And you talk to Rod Barajas, his catcher, after this spring training, he says he can make that jump.
Defensively for the Dodgers behind Kershaw tonight, Tony Gwynn Jr. is the new left fielder, also a new face. Former John Uribe is getting a start at third. Jamie Carroll at second. Casey Blake's injured, that's why the shuffling. Rod Barajas behind the plate. And we talk a lot about Matt Kemp's offense. What about his defense, Bobby?
Well, his defense has got to improve. He has a great stride in center field. He plays shallow. He can cover the gaps. But his mental lapses last year caused him and his fellow mates in the outfield to be the worst defensive outfield in the major leagues.
Well, it's a 5 o'clock start here on the West Coast, and you know what that means. Shadows. Mr. Hershiser, you may have benefited once or twice from shadow?
Well, the best year I had was in '85 as far as ERA, and everybody said, "Oh, what a great year, 2.03." I said, "Well, I had 5 starts at 5 o'clock. I got 20 free zeros that year."
Here's Andres Torres, and what a big story he became over the course of the last season for the Giants. Began the year as the 5th outfielder, your prototypical journeyman. As we are underway with a first pitch strike from Kershaw, much to the delight of a capacity crowd here in LA. And as we mentioned, just a spectacular night. Here's the 0-1, and Torres lays off outside. Now this is worth noting. Bobby Valentine came up in the Dodger organization, made his major league debut as a Dodger in this stadium in 1969. And you said to me yesterday, I've never seen those hills before.
There was so much smog.
Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Yeah, in the 60s and the 70s, Dan, this was a different place. The smog would settle in. You would not see the mountains, could not see those exit signs on the freeway.
Beautiful, though, huh?
It's beautiful now.
Great shots from the Goodyear blimp high above us here at Dodger Stadium. The 1-2 on the way to Torres, and Kershaw bounces in the breaking ball. 2-2 on Torres. Rod Barajas doing the catching. Oral, I know you think he's a really nice addition.
He is. Offensively, he had an off year last year, but defensively, he was here with the Dodgers for a month, so that got him accustomed to the team. Came into spring training and is really going to do a good job guiding this young pitching staff.
Spent most of the year with the Mets before coming to L.A. late last season. Here's the 2-2, and Torres stays alive. Torres, 33 years of age, stole 26 bases, had 43 doubles, played a great center field. There are a lot of other guys who got a lot of attention helping the Giants on their way to winning the World Series, but the role of Andres Torres should not be discounted. And again, the 2-2 on the way, and look at the movement on that pitch.
You see Clayton Kershaw, he's got the butterflies from opening day, but he's got them flying in order. And the fastball he's been using, that was a fastball, but that had some nice cut on it. I don't know if he did it on purpose or not. A pitch that he commands very well is the low-end fastball to righties like we just saw. He has a little trouble throwing the ball for strikes to his arm side.
Here's Freddie Sanchez, the second baseman, coming off yet another off-season surgery, the left shoulder. But he is raring to go, ready to go here for the 2011 season as he takes a strike from Kershaw. Here's what the hitter is seeing. That doesn't look like any fun, Bobby.
No, it's not fun. Because, Dan, it goes from white to dark. In the outfield where you see the light, in the dirt where you see the light, the ball looks very bright, and then it gets very dark on its way to the plate.
And a broken about, one hopper to short. Rafael for call. High throw, and safe at first is Sanchez. And it'll be an error on for call.
Earl, you go through all of spring training talking about running the ball out. Make sure that you never let up. And there you had Sanchez running hard down the first base. And as the high throw comes in from Foucault, he's on the base and he's leaning as he touches this base so that he's not able to be tagged on his helmet, called safe correctly, and we have the first base runner of the game.
Sanchez at first with one out. Here's Aubrey Huff, who a couple of days ago found out he wasn't the Giants' first baseman anymore. He's now a Giants outfielder because of the spring that Brandon Belt had. Also the injury to Cody Ross opening up a spot. But Huff, who has been in just a great mood ever since he became a Giant, because he hasn't played on a lot of good teams in his career. He's just in a happy to be here mood right now. Signed a nice 2-year extension that'll do that for a guy as well. The club leader last year in home runs and RBIs.
And Bruce Bochy mentioned what a pleasure it is to have players like him who can accept the manager's decision to play in the outfield. We said, Oral asked how many reps has he had. He said, well, he played 3 games, but he's the best athlete on the team. At least he says.
Just ask him.
He is.
Was set by Kershaw. So how'd you like to be a left-handed batter when your first at bat of the season is against one of the nastiest lefties in baseball, who's dealing through the sunlight and the shadows? This is a tough way to get out of the gate for Aubrey Huff.
Opening day is always tough for the hitters. You know, they have big days and they get their hits sometimes and even their home runs, but you're always going to face the aces. It's the night when it's all about aces.
Kershaw is the 5th different pitcher to start on opening day for the Dodgers in the last 5 years. Vicente Padilla was the opening day starter for the Dodgers a year ago. But it goes without saying that sure looks like Kershaw might lock up this job for a while. 1-2, swing and a miss. And Huff is gone, 2 down.
Well, you talk about Clayton Kershaw locking up this job. He had his first 200 inning season. He had his first 200 strikeout season. He has developed now a hard slider, which we just see right here. He came up as a fastball, curveball pitcher, but now throwing the slider. And talking to Rod Barajas in spring training, the slider is actually thrown about 2 times greater than the curveball now. It's a pitch that he commands more, and he can get back into counts with, and he can also put people away like he just did there with Huff.
Here's Buster Posey. You want to talk about a matchup of 2 of the game's great young stars. Here it is right here. Kershaw and Posey. Kershaw 23, Posey 24. You forget that this is Buster Posey's first opening day because he came up at the end of May. You were talking about it this morning in our meeting, Bobby. This is what you play for, to walk out on the white lines on opening day and hear your name announced for the first time.
Starting on opening day is special for all of these first-timers.
1-1.
And even though Posey was Rookie of the Year, and he's like a household name after playing so well in the playoffs and then the World Series, this is his first, and it's at Dodger Stadium, and it's on national TV, and he is stoked.
Keeps his emotions to himself for the most part, does not betray what he's feeling. 1-2, the count on the young catcher, and Posey will go for a little stroll. And some big hits in the postseason. And the Giants as a team played better after he got called up, then played better after he was installed as the everyday catcher. Went 52 and 32 from the day he became the everyday catcher. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The set by Kershaw. And a lob over the first, back easily Sanchez.
Dan, it should be noted also that Buster Posey was a shortstop in college. Has great feet, has a great arm, and he took those feet and that arm behind home plate in his senior year in college, and there's been no looking back since.
Kershaw standing in sunlight, surrounded by shadows front and back. 1-2 pitch down and away.
You know, one of the best compliments that can be given to Buster Posey also is to take on this pitching staff and lead them from May 29th. Not only the batting average and ending up #1 on his team with that at 305, but the way he guided this staff. With Lincecum with 2 Cy Youngs to step in there, with Kane all the way to the character at the end, and Brian Wilson, who's starting this season on the DL.
The 2-2, and he got him. Back to the breaking ball for a swing and a miss. An error and 3 strikeouts for Clayton Kershaw. What a beginning for him. Tim Lincecum to the mound when we come back. Nothing across for the Giants. 3 strikeouts and a runner who reached on an error, but that's it as we check out the starting lineup now for the Dodgers, presented by Majestic. Rafael Furcal, Tony Gwynn Jr., Andre Ethier. The top third of the lineup, Matt Kemp, James Loney, and former Giant Juan Uribe. Rod Barajas, Jamie Carroll at second base tonight, and then of course Clayton Kershaw pitching and batting 9th. On the mound for the San Francisco Giants, 2-time Cy Young Award winner Tim Lincecum.
A very tough August. We talked about 0-5 with an ERA in the stratosphere. Made a change in his grip, in his workout, has gained weight, has gained strength. still has outstanding stuff. And as the hits per 9 innings, this is a swing and miss stuff guy. The hits per 9 inning, 8.2. The top two, we're going to see him today. 7.24 with Kershaw and Lincecum, 7.36 since 2008.
Some pretty good names on that list right there. Lincecum had a terrible August, but otherwise a sensational season last year as Furcal steps in and looks at a strike. Furcal battled some injuries last year when he was in there, which was for 97 games. You can see he hit an even 300, can still ignite an offense. Sandoval is away and on the grass at third. Now he'll back up a step or two. Belt making his major league debut. A step or two inside the bag at first. Now he backs up. And Furcal now ahead of the count. 2 balls and a strike. After Furcal, Tony Gwynn Jr., then Andre Ethier. No score. Bottom of the first. And a swing and a ground ball right at the second baseman Sanchez for out number 1. Check of the defense now for the Giants with Burrell, Torres, and Huff left to right of the outfield. Sandoval, Tejada, Freddie Sanchez, and Brandon Belt at first base. Bobby, not just a good hitter, right?
He's there because of his glove. He could also play the outfield, as Bochy told us before the game, but he's a superior first baseman. Great range, great height, and a very good arm to throw to second base.
There's Tony Gwynn Jr., who fouls one back. The Padres last year, where his dad, of course, had such an incredible career. And now Gwynn figures to be part of 3 different players at the moment who are going to get some time in left field. Xavier Paul and Marcus Thames. He'll want a chopper to first. And Belt's got one under his belt. You should pardon the pun for out number 2.
We'll pardon the pun.
Thank you.
I like the pun.
It wasn't intended. I was halfway into it and I said, well, now I got no choice.
Well, with the sunlight the way it is right now, Tim Lincecum wants to get this inning over. We talked about how the sun is tough on the hitters, but it's also tough on the pitcher, especially a righty right now, with the sun coming across, hitting the Dodger Stadium mound. Almost like when you're driving your car into the sun, you use your hat bill as like the sun visor in the car and get it right there in the way as long as you can. But he's going to have trouble picking up the glove, and early on we saw the first 2 or 3 pitches. He had trouble throwing strikes, but he's gotten it back in there.
Last thing he wants is a ball hit back at him.
2 down, nobody on for Andre Ethier, who takes the fastball outside for ball 1. An Ethier injury last year in the middle of May, a broken pinky finger on his right hand, the bottom hand on his bat, was maybe the first sign that the Dodgers were not going to have the season they hoped to have. At the time of the injury, Bobby, he was leading the National League in batting average, home runs, and RBI.
People actually talked about a triple crown.
Rips it into right center field. It's a base hit. Huff will cut it off and get it back into second base to hold him to a single. And it looked like Aubrey Huff had trouble picking up that ball off the bat.
Exactly, Dan. We talked so much about the sun and the pitcher and the hitter, but that sun also played havoc with that line drive as it is hit out to right field. He took 2 strides and looked up. The ball was in the sun. Luckily, here's the strides. Oh, ball's in the sun. Let me play it on a hop. He made a good recovery to keep that ball to a 1-base hit.
He was joking with Brandon Belt, saying, thanks a lot, kid. I'm 34 and you're sending me back to the outfield, but doing it all in good fun with a youngster. Here's Matt Kemp, the center fielder, who took some major steps back last year from the 2009 season. The base running, the defense, the batting average, the attention to detail, which is something you hear a lot about Kemp. But the Dodger folks feel that Kemp may have a big 2011 season. Little looper, shallow right field. It'll drop. A bloop single for Kemp, and Ethier around to third.
This is how it's drawn up. You know, you attack the defense's weakest position. Audrey Huff's out there for the 4th time this year. 2 balls are hit to him. Neither of them could have been caught, even by a Hall of Fame right fielder, but they're going after him, and now we have a 1st and 3rd situation.
For a guy, Oral, who's been a pretty good RBI guy over the last few years. He doesn't have a lot of power, James Loney, but he's averaged 12 home runs and 89 RBIs over the last 3 years.
He has been a tough out with runners in scoring position. He understands how to put the bat on the ball, and I think he really understands about hitting the holes in the defense. And with that man on first over there in Kemp, he might use that hole.
0-1.
And we'll see what Don Mattingly is thinking right now. Difficult to get 3 hits in an inning off of a tough pitcher like Lincecum. He might be moving the runner at first. Davey Lopes is talking to him. They'll always have signs. You're just out of spring training where you practice all the first and third plays, both offensively and defensively. You see Tim Wallach, the third base coach, talking to Apier at third base. There might be something on here with 2 strikes.
Ground ball down to Belt. Nice play. Back to the bag to retire Loney and the Dodgers, who will leave a couple of men on. We're at the end of 1 here at Dodger Stadium. No score. Opening night baseball presented by Dick's Sporting Goods with Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser, and Wendy Nix. I'm Dan Shulman. Glad you're along with us. We've got another doubleheader for you tomorrow on the ESPN family of networks. And then, of course, Sunday night baseball begins 72 hours from now. We'll be right back here at Dodger Stadium for the 4th and final game of this series. No scores. We go to the 2nd, and here's Pat Burrell, who came over last year from Tampa Bay to the Giants. And had some big hits for them as a Giant. Playing time might be a bit of an issue for Burrow. Bruce Bochy's got a lot of options, a lot of versatility, especially once the injured Cody Ross comes back. Now that Aubrey Huff is in the outfield, Brandon Belt's at first. Just missing outside of the knees is Kershaw, and it's 3-0.
He'd like to throw that again, Orl. That's a nice pitch.
Yeah, maybe a little bit hard to see for the umpire, too.
And there's a strike. 3-1. Gary Cedarstrom working the plate tonight. Lance Barksdale is at first. Fielden and Culbreth at second, and Adrian Johnson at third. 3-1. And a high fly ball. Center field. Backpedaling Kemp just shy of the track to make the catch for out number 1. Opening night baseball on ESPN presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's, and in part by Firestone, the official tire of Major League Baseball. One down for the Giants here at the top of the second in this scoreless game. And here's one of the few new faces on this San Francisco team. Beautiful night here in L.A. as we bring you back inside the stadium. It's Miguel Tejada. Juan Uribe is now a Dodger. He's down there at third base right now for the Dodgers. Edgar Renteria, the World Series MVP, is gone. So the Giants lose a couple of key players from last year as the rookie Belt gets set for his first major league at bat. And Bobby, they bring in Tejada, 36 years of age. Obviously the range, the power, not what they used to be. What do you think about this acquisition?
They like his leadership qualities. They know that he's a guy who loves the game of baseball, knows how to play the game.
1-1 on the way. And a chopper to the right side. It'll back up Jamie Carroll onto the edge of the outfield grass. 2 down. And that will bring us to Brandon Belt.
Number 9, Brandon Belt.
Young man who started last year at A-ball, wound up at AAA, and hit a combined 352 over the 3 levels. Now, not very much of it at AAA, and he was down to the 220s in just 13 games at AAA. But boy, the Giants, as excited as they were about Buster Posey, if it's possible, they seem even more excited about Brandon Belt. And Bobby, since they have him, they're going to keep him, right? That's the plan?
That's what Brian Sabian has said. If he starts with us, he's going to stay with us. And I think they need his left-handed bat and his defense.
Just inside, a ball and a strike.
Around the Giant clubhouse, they say his swing reminds you a little bit like Will Clark, the old Giant that swung really well. And also somebody like Adrian Gonzalez has very good gap-to-gap power and hits the ball to left center field very well.
Breaking ball for a strike, 1-2. He's out of the University of Texas and remembers facing Kershaw once when they were both in high school. All he remembers is that he hit a ground ball to second and he thinks he beat it out. Ooh, Kershaw thought he had him.
As an ex-pitcher, I think he had him too. Let's see what K-Zone thinks. Kershaw really made a great pitch on his arm side here. It looked like for me this ball stayed in. No, got it right. Cedarstrom got it right, and that ball was in.
One thing they like, another thing they like about Belt is his patience at the plate, his selectivity, and his ability to use all fields.
Back to the breaking ball, and he pulls it fair behind the bag at first, and safe at first is Belt.
Well, give him a hit on his first at bat, Dan. What do you think? Bang, bang goes to the runner. Give the kid the ball. Loney was playing off the line here. He has to backhand this ball in foul territory. Makes a tough throw to the pitcher covering. It's bang, bang. Never gets into the glove. I like Belt. Here it is again, his second at bat. One in high school, now one in his major league debut, and he beats it out again.
And he is credited with a base hit.
The ground ball to second in high school he thought he beat out. Well, this one you don't have to think about. You'll have tremendous video of your first big league hit the rest of your life.
And Don Mattingly was just out on the field for the first time to talk with an umpire and talk with his pitcher. I think about his health. His major league debut as a manager, you want to get out on the field, you want to get that field and get it over with. He just went out, said, hey, was the ball fair or foul? They said I had a good look at it, it was fair, and then went by his starting pitcher, made sure that he was healthy.
Here's Pablo Sandoval. No score, top of the second. Belt at first with 2 down. Sandoval, the switch hitter, batting for the right side against the left-hander Kershaw. And what an offseason Sandoval had.
He took it off.
Yeah, he did. And the Giants basically said to him, you've got 2 choices, 240 or Fresno. And he chose 240.
It's a good choice.
And he lost at least 40 pounds.
Well, he was close to 3 bills.
Yeah.
And he took it off, and he looks like a new human being. And they say at spring training, his range increased, of course. His hands got softer because he could get down lower and stay on the ball.
2 years ago, he hit 330. He was really one of the sensations in all of baseball in 2009. By the end of last year, he was playing sparingly, if at all, in October for the Giants. And here he is batting 8th, but in his mind, at least, he's in the lineup. He's got a job.
If he returns to form, he won't be batting 8th very long.
belt the lead. And the 1-1, a swing and a foul back by Sandoval. And the extra weight, as we mentioned, really took a toll on his numbers in 2010. His average dropped by 62 points, one of the biggest drops in a batting average in all of baseball. Sandoval said he gave up the sweets, gave up all the fatty foods, went to the chicken salad diet over the course of the winter, and took off 40 pounds. Also admitted he had never, ever lifted a weight until this past winter. Ever.
The only thing he ever lifted was those hamburgers and hot dogs up to his mouth. And now he's got big league meal money, and he's got the big league spreads. Earl, he's going to be challenged the next 6 months to keep that weight off.
He's pushing the hamburgers over to Lincecum. That's who needs to put the weight on.
Yeah, Lincecum put a few pounds on, Bruce Bochy was telling us. Fooled, and Kershaw has his 4th strikeout of the night. No score going to the bottom of the 2nd between the Giants and the Dodgers here in L.A. Dan Shulman to Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser, and Wendy Nix. Glad you're with us tonight here to watch Tim Lincecum of the San Francisco Giants take on the LA Dodgers in the season debut for both. And Lincecum, of course, not just a great pitcher, also known for his hair as much as anything. The classic look of Joe DiMaggio giving way to the afro of Oscar Gamble back in the 70s. Steve Garvey, who was in our booth tonight and looks exactly like that 30 years later. John Kruk, our own John Kruk, with the mullet back at his playing days. Johnny Damon in the caveman era. With the Boston Red Sox, Bronson Arroyo went Bo Derek for a brief period of time. Manny Ramirez still with the dreadlocks. And Tim Lincecum, unique in so many ways, not just the hair, of course, the delivery, the ability. And this is an interesting young man who's got such a bright future. Just 26 years of age, has already won 2 Cy Young Awards. Facing his former teammate, Juan Uribe, who last year was an infielder with the Giants, hit 24 homers, drove in 85 runs, and had 2 of the biggest at-bats in the postseason for San Francisco. Shallow center, trouble, dropping. And Uribe trying to take advantage of the bobble, and safe at second. Now comes off the bag, and he's tagged out.
Well, you have first base coach Davey Lopes teaching aggressiveness all the way around on this team. And here as the ball gets by Torres, Uribe decides to go to second base. Very few players can slide to both sides of their body, Oral. But as Uribe goes to the second base, he makes a really good slide with his right leg on a hook slide, but it comes off the base. Sanchez stays with the tag. He's out. I mean, Tejada stays with the tag. He's out, but a very good hustle play.
Now Rada Barajas takes a strike. So the scoring on the play is a single, not a double, a single for Uribe, even though he overslid the bag. And then 4-6 on the putout. That was Sanchez, who alertly kept going out to center field when the ball got by Torres. Sanchez picked it up and fired it back in to Tejada. Freddie Sanchez, a former batting champion with the Pittsburgh Pirates a few years back.
Great hustle by Sanchez to see that ball go by his center fielder and make a beautiful throw to his shortstop covering at second.
The 0-2 to Barajas. And a liner to right center. That's a base hit. That's the 4th Dodger hitter in 7 to face Lincecum and get a hit.
Batting next, second baseman, number 14.
You see the slide. Uribe goes with his right foot on the base. He just doesn't hook that corner. He wanted to hook the corner with the instep of his foot. His foot came over the bag, consequently went by the bag. And instead of being a big rally time for the Dodgers, his man on first and 1 out.
His replacement, Tejada, putting the tag on him. Lincecum's given up 4 hits, as we mentioned, to the 7 batters he's faced. Here's Jamie Carroll getting a start at second base. And it looked like a cross-up between Lincecum and Posey. Over near the on-deck circle it goes, and into second base goes Barajas.
Without a doubt, a cross-up Oro. He's looking for either a changeup or overhand curveball. Here's a high fastball. Luckily, Buster gets his glove on this ball. Otherwise, we have trouble. He's looking fastball. The ball's fast. Wow.
He just missed it. He lost it. He might have lost it in the center field. It's the only place the glare is off the center field wall right now that could bother him.
A pass ball charged to Posey.
And there was no meeting.
No
meeting between the two of them after the pitch. So Posey's taking that all himself. If he thinks he got crossed up, he's going to the mound and he's going to talk about it. But the batter's eye, you see the center field, the glare, and maybe Buster Posey got hit by the sunlight off the wall.
Really late reaction, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So Lincecum having to battle a runner at second, 1 down. And the 1-1 changeup over the inside corner for a called strike, 1-2.
Any pitch, any count, with aggressiveness, with deception. Not because he has to, but because he can.
But did he want it over the inside corner?
He's had trouble during spring training cutting and fading his changeup. I'm not sure right now at this point in the season, the first few innings, that he knows exactly what it's doing.
Back to it again, down and in, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
His change is a modified split finger, and if you have a tendency to come around it a little bit, the changeup will cut, which means it'll go away from your arm side. If you throw it the natural way that you'd like to throw it, by pronating your hand, it'll go down and in like a sinking fastball with less velocity.
Breaking ball, a swing and a foul tip held by Posey, and Carroll strikes out. That's the first strikeout of the night for Lincecum.
Pitcher, number 22.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Beautiful shots on a beautiful night here at Chavez Ravine, where Bobby Valentine made his major league debut. Oral Hershiser, of course, also breaking in as a Dodger, although made his major league debut on the road in Montreal. What do you remember, Bobby, about, what was it, September 2nd, 1969? Something like that?
Yeah, I got the pitch run. Danny Ozark was the third base coach. I went from first to third. I got to third. He said, "Do you think you could steal home here?" My first big league game.
Here's Clayton Kershaw.
I said, "I think so." And the next pitch, Willie Davis put it in play. Third out was made and never had the opportunity. Also never had the opportunity to start at Dodger Stadium. First time I ever had the starting role, opening day, was for the old California Angels.
In the dirt, smothered by Posey. A ball and 2 strikes on a Kershaw, who was 3 for 55 last year. How much has Dodger Stadium changed from what you remember?
Not at all. It's almost exactly the same. A few more signs up, a little more advertising, Laurel, but this is Dodger Stadium for 40 years.
I'll tell you what, the foul territory, they got the seats in a little closer, and a few more outs.
Posey fires down to first to complete the strikeout of Kershaw, and the inning is over. Another man left on by the Dodgers, scoreless at the end of 2. Dodgers as we go to the top of the third here on opening night for these two teams, which meant we had a chance to catch up for the first time since last season with our old friend, Hall of Fame play-by-play man John Miller, who of course was the voice of Sunday Night Baseball for 21 great years along with Joe Morgan. Oral, you joined them last year, and John Miller deservingly the Fort C. Frick Award winner last year. And now he's still, people nationally may not know that John also does the Giants, did the Giants for many years, the Orioles before that, so now he's doing the Giants full-time, and had a great chance to catch up with him, and great to see him again.
It was great to have the year with him last year when I broke into the big leagues. Of course, he was announcing my games with Hall of Famer Joe Morgan, and then to get the opportunity to work with those two and learn so much from them that now we get to see him here and passing over there doing the Giants radio.
Kershaw to face Lincecum to begin the third. And a strike taken. We've got Hall of Fame broadcasters all over the place here tonight. Vin Scully, the gold standard, the man for whom the press box we are sitting in is named. Vin Scully is back for another year broadcasting the Dodgers. And by the way, the Dodgers Spanish language broadcaster Jaime Herrin is also a Hall of Famer. They're everywhere. Lincecum is gone on 3 pitches. 5 strikeouts for Kershaw.
When you talk about Vince Scully, what a guy.
Yeah, true gentleman. And, you know, thinking about my days with the Dodgers, Vinny didn't get close to the players, but as you retire and then you're around the ballpark still now as an announcer for me and others, Vinny then takes on a friendship, and it's just great to have him around.
Back to the top of the order for the Giants, Andres Torres, and Kershaw is dialed in right now as he paints the outside corner with a fastball. Once through the order, Kershaw's given up an infield hit. There's been an error behind him. Of the 7 outs he has, 5 of them have been strikeouts.
Dan, when I came up in the early 70s, most fans would come to the games with transistor radios. And Vinny would do the first 3 and the last 3 innings of the game. And when he was on, you could hear the play-by-play when you're out on the field because everyone was listening to what Vinny had to say.
Breaking ball, swing and a miss. Barajas down to first. Strikeout number 6 for Kershaw. Opening night baseball on ESPN, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, is brought to you by Bank of America. Don't you get the feeling, Oral, that Vin Scully could read a grocery list and you'd be absolutely captivated?
Yeah, he could say some of the worst things you'd ever hear in your life, and you would say, "Can you repeat that?"
Yes, and that grocery list you'd be able to see vividly everything that you were putting in the basket.
Great point. Still does all the Dodger home games and all the road games against the National League West Division opponents. Vin doesn't go east anymore, but he'll do all the home games and some of the road games as Freddie Sanchez steps in. 2 down, nobody on, no score here in the top of the third. And a strike taken to even it up at 1-1.
Think about Clayton Kershaw's maturation process, all the things that he's accomplished and has been exposed to, and now an opening day start.
Ground ball up the middle to his right. Carroll, inning over. Kershaw continues to roll on here against the Giants. Oral Hershiser, Bobby Valentine, and Wendy Nix. I'm Dan Schulman. Opening night baseball presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. No score between the Giants and the Dodgers. Tim Lincecum back of the mound for the bottom of the third. Rafael for call, shows bunt, gets it down back toward the mound. Lincecum fires to first just in time.
This is not a good bunt, Oral. It goes back towards the pitcher. He tries to backhand it, and just like an infielder is taught, if you boot the ball, go down with your bare hand, pick it up and fire it to first. You see Tim look at this ball bouncing towards him. He goes to backhand it, misses it, barehands it, fires to first. If he goes down with his glove, tries to pick that ball up with a glove, we have a runner on first. Instead, it's the barehanded field and throw. No error, no base runner.
Now Tony Gwynn Jr. He shows bunt and takes a breaking ball in for a strike. Is this picking on Sandoval or just trying to mess up the timing of Lincecum a little bit?
I think he was just taking a pitch there because it was on the first pitch that Foucault bunted and wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be a two-pitch, two-out situation.
The 0-1, a swing of the ball slashed to left field, a base hit. Burrell has trouble with it. Gwynn on his way to second. And in there.
Not to be redundant, but what we talked about with Don Mattingly, what we talked about with the players before the game, what does Davey Lopes bring to the Los Angeles Dodgers? He brings an aggressive attitude. Never stop until the defense makes you stop. Here's this ball slicing in the left field that Burrell decides not to catch on the first hop. And Tony Gwynn's not going to stop. Davey Lopes gets over there close to the bag. He's telling him go for two. He does with a head first slide. He's safe. Bang, bang at second. Another base runner. And, you know, they're hitting Tim pretty well this game.
They're getting the barrel of the bat on the ball.
Davey Lopes, the new first base coach of the Dodgers. Of course, a terrific player here for the Dodgers for many years. It just looks right to see Davey Lopes back in a Dodger uniform and credited for so much of the great base running and base stealing the Philadelphia Phillies did in recent years.
Left here 30 years ago, Dan.
Wow. Great infield that he was a part of for a number of years. No infield was together longer than the infield that Lopes was a part of. Garvey, Lopes, Russell, Say. And you can see what he helped the Phillies do. Led the National League in stolen base percentage in each of the last 4 years. And the Dodgers could use a little help in this department. And if nothing else, if he can just get Matt Kemp back to stealing bases with a good percentage like he used to do. And he seems to have helped the whole team have a sense of urgency, run aggressively.
We asked Don Mattingly, give us one-word responses about your coaching staff for Davey Lopes. Pressure. He wants pressure put on the opposing team, and we have seen that already.
And you see him with the yellow thing in his hand. That's a stopwatch. He's timing Tim Lincecum to the plate, and the runner at second and runner at first will look to him, and he'll either give a nod or he'll tell him to stay put.
The scoring of the play, by the way, a single for Gwynn and an error charge to Burrell. 1-1 the count on Andre Ethier. And he went around 1-2.
And you say, what's going to happen on that watch that would make them go? Something above 1.3 from when Lincecum starts his motion till the ball is received at home by Posey. 1.3 for the pitcher, 2 flat for the catcher. That's 3.3. That's approximate running time for average Major League runner. You under or over that, you're safe or out.
Left field again. Burrell makes the catch for the second out. Gwynn back to second.
Exactly right, Orl. And many times a pitcher will have a much bigger leg kick when the runner's on second base than he would if there's a runner on first. And Davey's watching that right now. And a lot of people think, well, don't make the third out at third base. Don't steal third with a left-handed hitter up. Well, you put those things away when you have a guy like Lincecum on the mound. If you can advance another base and possibly score on a wild pitch, you've got to try it.
Here's Matt Kemp. 2 down in the inning. Kemp with a base hit his first time up. Gwynn a healthy lead off second base as Lincecum stares him down. Outside, ball 1.
When the Giants have gotten Tim Lincecum 3 runs or more in his starts, he is 45-3. So you talk about trying to squeak runs over, take third with 2 outs. That's why.
How much, Oral, do you think his success is stuff, and how much is delivery and deception because of how unusual his motion is?
When you've had the success that he has with the 2 Cy Youngs, 08 and 09, coming back from a tough August and leading them through September and October, you do everything well. You have great stuff. You have great command. You have great presence. You make big pitches at big times. You do it all.
I mean, you go into October with a young pitching staff, you don't know what to expect. You just can't predict what you're going to get. Matt Cain did not give up an earned run in October, and Tim Lincecum, from the 14 strikeout game against Atlanta, then he beat Roy Halladay, then he beat Cliff Lee, then he beat Cliff Lee again, making Dave Righetti, his pitching coach, proud. Just a phenomenal October for Tim Lincecum and the Giants. He loses him. Opening night baseball from Dodger Stadium, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, Dan Shulman, Oral Hershiser, Bobby Valentine, and Wendy Nix. The Giants and the Dodgers, these old rivals, meeting on opening day. We've got no score in the bottom of the third. Clayton Kershaw against Tim Lincecum.
One of the things you talk about that he does well when you break it down is deception. At the height of the leg kick, when he starts to take the ball out of his glove, the hitter has no idea what grip he has on that ball. He does not give it away at all. It comes out behind his body. A complete turn which disguises the speed he is coming at you. The stride length is so long, the drag line getting closer to the hitter at every time that he throws the ball.
I'll tell you, it's impressive to watch at normal speed, but to see it at super slow-mo like that, it's amazing.
And to keep his athletic ability, when we talk about the drag line, he releases the ball and is off the rubber. He's like a foot closer or greater to the hitter when he releases the ball. You think about the reaction time the hitter loses.
So his back foot has already left the rubber before he releases the baseball.
He is so talented and so athletic and can make an athletic, dynamic move. Look, the ball's still in his hand. The foot is probably almost a good foot. I think it got as much as 20, 22 inches at one time. And the longest drag line I've ever seen is Greg Maddox, which was up above 20 inches. And both small in stature, but both athletic enough and strong enough to take their bodies down, spin their hips, hold their shoulders, and throw the ball.
Loney with a ground ball to short. And the inning is over. The Dodgers will leave 2 more men on. They've left 5 on already. Buster Posey will bat second for the Giants when we come back. Knicks, Giants and Dodgers are scoreless. The Dodgers have 5 hits. They've left 5 men on against Tim Lincecum. As Aubrey Huff leads off the inning with a high fly ball to right field. Ethier back in front of the wall to make the catch. Battling the elements as well for out number 1. Major League Baseball action continues on ESPN tomorrow. First at 1 Eastern, the Houston Astros face Phillies ace Roy Halladay, Ryan Howard, and the rest of the Phillies as they get their season underway. And then at 4 Eastern, it'll be newcomers Carl Crawford and Adrian Gonzalez, the rest of the Red Sox, taking on the defending American League champion Texas Rangers, led by reigning MVP Josh Hamilton. Oral, Bobby, and myself will be in Arlington. What should be a very fun day. You were a pitching coach there, Oral. Bobby, you were a manager there. So you both can speak to what it means to baseball fans in Arlington, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, when that banner goes up tomorrow.
It's going to be really exciting to have winning tradition back in Texas. Nolan Ryan at the helm has really done a great job. Don Daniels, the young general manager, has really moved into his own and really gone through the learning process of how to build a team, and now has done a great job. Tell you what.
Looking forward to going back?
I'm looking forward to it. They have a great stadium, and their fandom now is a baseball fandom in a football country.
Mr. Posey, a ball and 2 strikes. You and I did the series last year, Bobby, Tampa Bay in Texas, the division series on ESPN Radio. And walking into Dodger Stadium with Oral is about the same as walking into the ballpark at Arlington with a Bobby. I mean, they're both rock stars.
We appreciate you filling in as a bodyguard.
What do you think of the Rangers this year? I mean, they had, Naftali Feliz. Should we close him, start him, close him? Now he's going to be back in the bullpen. They didn't re-sign Cliff Lee. Obviously, what do you guys think of the Rangers' chances this year?
I think it hurts them a lot because of Cliff Lee. That was a mainstay of that rotation. But C.J. Wilson, who's going to lead off for him, is going to really learn a lot under Cliff Lee. And you look at what they can do offensively, and they're going to score a lot of runs. It is going to be a pitching question down there. And I think the defense will be solid.
Should be a very interesting division. The Angels obviously are going to be a factor. I mean, they had all kinds of injuries last year, hoping to get Morales back before long this year, but they figure to be a factor. And how about the Oakland A's with Brett Anderson, Trevor Cahill, Gio Gonzalez, Dallas Braden? What a pitching staff they've got.
I'm not buying the Oakland Kool-Aid myself.
You're not?
To tell you the truth. No, I'm not.
selling it.
I know you're selling it, and I know they pitched in the mausoleum up there, and I know those kids did really well last year, but it's really difficult for them all to come together and to build a team on just the fact that they have these guys who are all going to pitch well again in 2011, I think is a little tough pill to swallow.
So they need kind of a leveling off year before they take the next step?
I think so.
Fouled back 2-2 on Pat Burrell.
He never said that when he was managing the Mets. They were always going to have a great year, and they were always going to be there, and they were always going to develop, and they were always going to get better.
Yes, and you learn from experience, don't you? Because I guess that doesn't happen.
That's what the Dodgers are hoping here with their offense, though. They're hoping they all kind of come together. They had Ethier going, and then the pinky was broken. Looked like he was doing really well. And Kemp, they're hoping that turns around. Loney, they're hoping that's there.
Burrell is swinging a miss, and Clayton Kershaw is having some kind of a night. He's got 8 strikeouts through 4 innings. into evening for the most part. The sunlight and the streaks of light that were moving in and out across the field are gone. No scores. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Between innings, our Wendy Nix had a chance to catch up with San Francisco manager Bruce Bochy.
Bruce, let's start with your starting pitcher. What is your assessment of Tim Lincecum in the early going?
Well, he's done the ball well. I mean, they're finding ways to get hits off him, but he's pitching well in traffic right now. But he's got good stuff. They've hit a couple of bloopers that have fallen in. Made a mistake out there in the outfield, but he's doing a good job of not letting any runs get in right now.
Brandon Belt hustled to get his first major league hit. He also gets the nod at first base. What are your expectations of that adjustment in the early going?
Well, we just want Brandon to be himself. He had a great year last year, had a great spring, and to be honest, I was glad to see him get a hit right away. It takes a little added pressure, I guess, off yourself. But he's going to throw out some good at-bats. He's a very good first baseman, and right now he makes us a better club with Ross out.
Thank you. Dan?
All right, Wendy, thank you. The calf injury sustained by National League Championship Series MVP Cody Ross opening things up a little bit, and eventually Huff moving to the outfield. Belt to first, driven to deep center off the bat of Juan Uribe, but tracking it down shy of the fence is Torres for the first out. And the Dodgers continue to make some really good contact. Yet Bruce Bochy's right, a couple of bouncers or bleeders, but they've also hit some balls hard, Oral.
They have. When he's had the ball over the plate, Tim Lincecum, it's not been as moving as it normally was. He's been up a little bit, but you know what? He's pitching around his mistakes, and that's what you have to do to win a lot. 16-10. He had a tough August, 0-5, but he knows how to win. He knows how to get it done, even though he's not at his best.
Here's Rod Barajas, who had a base hit his first time up. Swing and a miss on the Dodger catcher. The Dodgers finished under 500 last year, 80-82, after winning the National League West and advancing to the NLCS each of the previous 2 seasons. Big swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. The Giants bringing the World Series to San Francisco, winning the World Series championship for the first time since moving to San Francisco. They beat the Braves, they beat the Phillies, they beat the Rangers. They did it with pitching and timely hitting, as they say. There's a strikeout for Lincecum, his third of the night, and Tim Lincecum has done that about as well as any young pitcher in the history of baseball. In fact, no pitcher has struck out more batters in his first 4 years in the big leagues than Tim Lincecum. Ever.
That's a lot of strikeouts. 4 years.
For a guy who weighs about 160 pounds.
Soaking wet.
And size doesn't mean velocity. It's how quick you can get that arm. Degrees per second that shoulder turns. And how you separate your hips and your shoulders and translate that power up through the ball.
And you have to have size inside that body, and he's got a big heart. No doubt about that.
Needs 248 strikeouts this year to match Tom Seaver for the most strikeouts ever through the first 5 years of one's career. He's led the league in strikeouts each of the last 3 years. 265, 261, 231. Maybe what's most impressive is first year, he wasn't up for a full season. Made 24 starts, yet he still has the most strikeouts through 4 seasons of any pitcher in history.
It's pretty good.
56 and 27 in his career. Broken to back ground ball off the mound, up the middle. Miguel Tejada will get Carroll, and the inning is over as the Dodgers go in order in the bottom of the fourth. Hicks had a chance to catch up with Don Mattingly between innings.
Don, Clayton Kershaw, a very young pitcher for opening day, but he doesn't look young out there. What have you seen so far?
No, he's not scared. He's the kind of kid that really likes to pitch against the big boys, too. He likes big moments. I told him early, even last year when I first got in the job, I'd hook him up with anybody. And Lincecum's one of those anybody's, so he likes this kind of moment.
You're a veteran Major League manager now, 4 innings under your belt. What do you think? How does it feel?
It feels good. I just got to slow down. I didn't see that ball drop over there. Couldn't see it in that sun. So, but it feels good. Our club's playing. We're getting some hits. You haven't got the big hit yet, but I feel like our guys are ready.
Don, thank you. Dan?
Wendy, thank you. Don Mattingly, the hitting coach for Joe Torre here with Los Angeles the last 3 years. And, of course, as a player, for young fans who are out there who may not remember or wonder what all the fuss is about when you hear Donnie Baseball's name, I mean, Don Mattingly was as good a hitter as there was for a few years in the 80s, won an MVP, a very good defensive first baseman, 6-time All-Star. And I don't know how you feel, Oral. Had it not been for back problems, he'd be in Cooperstown right now.
For sure, and he battled even through the back problems, too. When the Yankees would go down to the wire, he said, forget the back, I'm going to let the bat go. And he really helped that club.
Also an outstanding fielder, and I had to try to figure out a way to get him out during those mid-late 80s, and there was no way at all. Had to hope he hit it right at someone.
Ball and 2 strikes. The count on Brandon Belt after the flyout by Miguel Tejada. Bobby, what do you think the challenges are for Don Mattingly as a rookie manager?
Well, they're all challenges. Everything is new. Just like opening day for Belt at first and Posey behind the plate, it's all a learning experience, and he has to try to shorten that curve as much as he can. Can't teach experience.
Down the left field line and back out of play for Belt. Well, he was with Joe Torre for a few years, and he always wanted to be a manager. Actually wanted the Yankee job before it went to Joe Girardi. And I guess fortunate in a sense, Bobby, he's coming into an established team with a lot of talent. This is not a team really that's looking to rebuild right now.
No, they're a very good team, and he has a lot of help around them. Trey Hillman, Tim Wallach, Davey Lopes. They all have managerial experience. They all have the gray hairs and the wisdom of the experiences that Donnie's going to experience for himself as time goes on, and that's going to be worth its weight in gold, Oral.
Yeah, especially right there, Trey Hillman behind him, helping him cross-checking decisions. A great organizer.
And they were at the Yankees together when Trey was a minor league manager, so they know each other well.
Brandon Belt showing good patience as he draws the walk and reaches base for the 2nd time in his big league career. Here's a look at the coaching staff that you guys are so fond of. A lot of experience. Lopes and Wallach, both terrific major league players as well.
And remember, Trey Hillman managed the Kansas City Royals. He also managed in Japan. I managed against him for 4 years, and he knows what he's doing. Extremely organized, wonderful person. Everyone respects him and likes him, and he's going to be a big help to Donnie.
Belt at first with 1 out. Kershaw steps off. The batter is Pablo Sandoval.
I tell you, don't forget Rick Honeycutt, who is a holdover from Joe Torre's days and been here with the Dodgers. Great left-handed pitcher. And talking to Donnie Baseball about him, he says, you know what, I think he's very underrated. He knows how to get people out. We sit on the bench, and he knows where these pitchers need to put the ball to find people's holes in their swings.
Sandoval lifts a high fly ball down the right field line. It draws a trio of Dodgers as it drops untouched in foul territory.
Looking at Sandoval one more time this year, he lost a lot of weight, but he's still the most free swinger I've ever seen. I haven't seen a pitch that's even close to the strike zone that he's swung at yet. And I know right now in this situation, Kershaw knows he's got him if he throws pitches that are out of the zone.
Yep, the key right here as a pitcher is to know that they'll chase but not throw something that's so wild that it advances the runner when you strike him out. So make him make an out, get himself out. You'll hear that phrase in baseball. Let him get himself out.
In off the plate, out off the plate. He doesn't have to bounce it. He'll still be swinging.
Bluffs the throw. Kershaw, Oral, comes set very high. His hands are almost, they're not at his belt, they're almost at his neck.
It's his own idiosyncrasy. I like something a little bit more closer to your center of gravity so that you feel balanced as you go down the hill. I think you can get the ball to your glove quicker, but this is something that he likes and is comfortable with. One thing I learned as a pitching coach is you don't want to mess with comfort. The last thing you want people out there doing is thinking and feeling awkward. So if that's where he's had him for his high school and time that he's gotten up here, you leave him there and see if you can work with it. Until you see the ability start to go away, the results go away, you don't want to make a major change on somebody like that.
I wouldn't change a thing, Earl.
Exactly.
It ain't broke, I ain't fixing it.
Results have been great tonight. Just one hit allowed, and that was the infield hit by Belt. Look at that swing by Sandoval, just fighting it off, and he's got himself a base hit. So the 2 hits that he's allowed are a little bouncer by Belt, and as choppy, ugly defensive a swing as you'll ever see by Sandoval as he bloops it into right.
Ball might have been able to hit the dirt. It's going down and in. How he even swings at it. Never mind bloops it to first. Here it goes. The ball's going to be blocked by the catcher. He inside out. It's a low and in pitch and bloops it down the line for his first hit of the year. Here it goes. Well, let's not teach this to anyone because it only works for one guy.
That reminded me of when I played wiffle ball in front of my garage and the pitch was so much movement. I just had to go down there and just kind of put a little plastic on it.
It's almost a cricket swing.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
Now Lincecum with runners at first and second and 1 out. The Dodgers in on the corners expecting the bunt. And he takes it outside. Ball 1. Lincecum did have 13 sacrifices a year ago.
Once again, practiced all spring training long, both defensively and offensively. This is a situation he wants to bunt it to third base, make the third baseman and the pitcher make a decision on who's going to field it, maybe beat it out, but at least advance the runners to second and third.
2-0.
I'll tell you what, I don't know how many left-handed batting practice pitchers that threw like Kershaw they had down in spring training, so this is still an adventure.
And how about Kershaw, who's pitched brilliantly tonight, as opposed to Lincecum, who's pitched well, but he's gotten in and out of trouble. But now Kershaw's in a jam here in the 5th inning. And a strike.
No reason that you can't steal third base right here. Uribe's too far in on the grass. If Lincecum just pokes at the ball and misses it on a bunt attempt, it'll freeze the third baseman and you can walk into third base. You're supposed to be even with the bag, maybe a step in front of it, waiting for this ball to be bunted and then read it. Uribe hasn't played a lot of third, and right now he's out of position.
A natural second baseman.
Bunted foul.
When you talk about poking at it, he's not only going to freeze him, he's probably going to get a step on him as quick as he got onto that foul ball. You can tell the weight is coming forward and the step is forward just with the action of the bat.
And I know you don't practice bunting and missing the ball, but this is something that could be talked about depending on, who the 7th, 8th hitters are and the pitchers and the different players. Probably not yet a team play, but it would work easily, as you can see by the photo on the TV.
Gets it down. Throw to second. Back to first. Not in time. But an aggressive play by Uribe as they get Sandoval at second.
Well, we talk about Davey Lopes' aggressiveness in teaching the Dodgers to run the bases aggressively. Here it's an aggressive defensive play looking for a double play, thinking the pitcher might take a lazy way down to first base after getting a good bunt down, thinking, oh, it's just going to throw me out at first. You lazily run down to first, but they go to second first, and then almost the slide by Sandoval is what really made for call, give him up short. He's going to get Lincecum on that ball if there's not a takeout slide at second.
So no sacrifice on the play for Lincecum. It's a fielder's choice. 5-6 on the putout. Belt at third. Lincecum at first, 2 down. And the batter is Andres Torres, who has now struck out twice already in his first 2 at-bats against Kershaw. 2 of the 8 strikeouts Kershaw has tonight.
And Dan, going to second base on that play is a set play. That, as I mentioned, the defense practices the first and second bunt defense. That's exactly how it's practiced. If the bunt is hard to the third baseman, let's try to get 2 and get out of the inning. They almost did.
No runs, 2 hits and an error for the Giants. No runs, 5 hits and an error for the Dodgers. Opening night, first of a 4-game series. Fouled off to the right.
So I was never a big proponent of the bunter always bunting the ball to third hard. went, especially because the defense was in the wrong place. I always like when they had the crash play on me as the pitcher bunter, I like to deaden it back to the pitcher. Give it to the guy who has the least experience handling the ball in the infield and make a good bunt even straight back.
The left-hander sets. And the 0-2, a curveball up the middle to his left. Throw to second as Furcal feeds Carroll in time to force Lincecum and end the inning. Kershaw gets out of trouble. Presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. With Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser, Wendy Nix, I'm Dan Shulman. Glad you're with us. No score, pitcher's duel, as you would expect, between Tim Lincecum and Clayton Kershaw. We go to the bottom of the fifth, and Kershaw will lead it off for the Dodgers. He'll be followed by Furcal and then Gwynn. 85 degrees at game time here. The game starting just after 5 o'clock local time. Now about 6:30 here Pacific time, so it might have cooled off a bit, but yeah, it doesn't feel like March. Got some snow back east. Watched some of the game from New York that Sean McDonough, Rick Sutcliffe, Aaron Boone were doing. We've got some snow just in the distance on the peaks of the San Gabriel Mountains, but we don't have any snowflakes around the ballpark tonight.
Well, I'm from out west here, not Las Vegas and here LA. We had cold spring, cold winter, so I don't mind some of this warm weather coming in.
We have a record in Stamford, Connecticut this year.
I was going to say that the guy who lives in Vegas
is complaining.
Is going to complain to the guy who lives in Connecticut and the guy who lives in Canada about how winter was. Man, oh man.
Well, sorry guys.
He considers roughing it, eating a filet mignon with a dull knife.
It peaked at 90 degrees today here in LA, and it's still in the 80s right now. Beautiful night. We're back with you Sunday night. This is where our first Sunday night game of the season will come from. The fourth and final game of the series between the Dodgers and Giants. The pitching matchup is supposed to be Hiroki Kuroda for the Dodgers and Barry Zito for the Giants. But as you may have heard today, Barry Zito was involved in a car accident last night in West Hollywood. He lives here. And he was apparently broadsided by another car, was taken to hospital, was released from the hospital, but had a neck brace on at the ballpark today. And Bruce Bochy told us that Zito's going to get an MRI on his neck and back, and everybody knows how a car accident feels sometimes a day or two later. You feel worse than right after it happens. But right now the Giants are saying they expect Zito to make his start on Sunday night here on ESPN. Outside, a ball and a strike on for Call. With more, here's Wendy Nix.
Well, Dan, as you mentioned, Zito didn't come to the park today, but when he arrived, he was wearing a neck brace and said he was a bit more sore than he expected to be. And you're right, he's insisting he'll make his start, but the Giants are obviously going to take the wait-and-see approach. Bruce Bochy also saying he has not made a decision on Zito's replacement if he cannot go on Sunday.
Because Madison Bumgarner, who right now is their number 5 guy, it would be short rest for him. And the last thing you want to do, Orel, with a young pitcher is have him go on short rest in his first start of the season.
Yeah, the reason they had him in the 5 is to protect his innings. And this young staff that went so deep into the playoffs last year, with the playoffs and the World Series, innings could be an issue as they go through this season. A little bit of a hangover from all the excess innings it takes to win a world championship. And Bruce Bochy talking to him before the game, something they're not worried about now, but they could watch as they get into the season, especially around All-Star break, and they look into the second half.
Did he go? Yes, he did, says Gary Cederstrom. And if Call strikes out 2 down, well, let's take a look at all those innings that the San Francisco Giants pitched on their way to a World Series championship last year. Young arms, too. Tim Lincecum up near 250. Matt Cain, 244. Bumgarner's numbers include the minors, regular season of the majors, and October. And you can see the previous career highs, especially for Sanchez and Bumgarner, how much more they pitched last year. Bumgarner's a guy they might keep an eye on late in the season. Boy, talk about another guy with a bright future.
And he's not an option for Sunday. So they'll mix and match and figure something out. I doubt Zito's going to go, though, also.
That's a tough thing. And all of us around listening and watching know that when you have an accident like that or something else, that a lot of times you feel worse the second and third day, not immediately right after.
And on the grass at third, Sandoval. Tony Gwynn checks the swing, and the count is 2 balls and a strike on Gwynn, who's grounded out and got a base hit tonight. Zito was a guy who actually started off last year very well for the Giants, but down the stretch didn't pitch well, wasn't even on the playoff roster, didn't pitch in October. Throw to first by Tejada, dug out by Belt, and the inning is over. We're at the end of 5. No score. John and Barry Larkin, a newcomer to ESPN, with us just about every Sunday night as Baseball Tonight hits the road this year.
I love those guys. I wish they were here tonight.
Freddie Sanchez with a base hit through the left side. To get the Giants started here in the 6th inning, we mentioned Sunday Night Baseball. We'll be right back here at Dodger Stadium to wrap up the 4-game series between these two old rivals. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell on ESPN 2 at 8 Eastern. The game is also available on ESPN Radio, online at ESPN3.com, and on ESPN Deportes. Baseball Tonight will come your way live from Dodger Stadium at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time Sunday, 9:30 a.m. here locally. And then a full hour of Baseball Tonight on site from Los Angeles from 7 to 8, an hour leading up to first pitch. As again, Carl Ravitch, John Kruk, Barry Larkin will be there. Bobby will be a part of the show. Oral will be breaking down the pitchers. Buster Olney will be here. Wendy Nix will be here.
Cast of thousands.
How about that?
We'll be having fun with that.
Interesting,
with the fans.
Interesting confrontation right here. Remember Aubrey Huff on his last at bat, the first pitch slider he hit to the wall in right field. Rod Barajas and Clayton Kershaw had a tough time getting on the same page of that first pitch, and Barajas actually had to calm him down.
Ground ball up the middle. There's 1 and 2. 4-6-3 double play, as easy as they come.
I'll tell you what, he got a double play on a fastball there. They decided not to go with the slider, and then they went with 2 fastballs to get the double play. But the breaking ball for Clayton Kershaw today has been the out pitch. He's done a great job throwing strikes with his fastball like that, which he can command to that side. But the breaking ball, the curveball, and the slider have been the out pitch. The strikeouts are coming from the breaking ball. It's been a great finish pitch for him today with great depth. I don't care the vision of the hitters when the sunlight was out or when they can see the ball now. He's got good stuff.
Got 8 strikeouts tonight. Just got a big double play as he faces Buster Posey. Suddenly 2 outs, nobody on. No score. The Giants batting here in the top of the 6th. Late on that. It's 1-1.
Actually, Danny, he has a really good inside-out swing. He loves to get the pitch on the inside part of the plate and drive it to right center. He's been off on 2 swings today. Both of them hit foul towards the right field line, but I think he'll make an adjustment before this game's over.
How hard is it for a hitter, Bobby, as the lighting changes throughout the game? Now we're at dusk and they've got good vision. That adjustment you're asking him to make or thinking he's going to make, will that make it tougher because the lighting has changed?
I'm not sure about the lighting, Earl, but I know it's just timing. You know, the nerves are what make you fast or slow. And I think he's just going to start to control his nerves because, remember, Rookie of the Year, star of the team that won the World Series, but this is his first opening day at the Major League level, and everyone has the jitters.
And there's Buster Posey. You talk about him sending the ball the other way a lot, Bobby, and those numbers prove it. Well, you can't spread him around much more evenly than Buster Posey did last year.
And a lot of the balls that are hit to right and right center are the fastballs, which is so hard to teach a young kid to pull the breaking ball and stay with the fastball and hit it the other way. He does it as though he's a natural.
Up the middle and a base hit.
Nice call, Skipper. Nice address. Nice adjustment.
Yeah, he fouled off that pitch that was down and in, and he pulled it. And here's a pitch that was in but up a little, and he didn't ground it to third as many a right-handed hitter does. He hit it right up the middle, down the middle, up the middle. Nice job. Here he is. He gets firm on the front side. He gets that turn.
Almost looks like he blocks it up the middle.
Yeah.
He just blocks it up there.
Blocks it up there. He stops his way from going forward and hits it where it's pitched. Fine young player.
Here's Pat Burrell. First pitch swinging, a pop-up in foul territory. Loney with room, and the inning is over. To the bottom of the 6th. Still scoreless. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Back at Dodger Stadium along with Oral Hershiser, Bobby Valentine, and Wendy Nix. I'm Dan Schulman. Glad you're with us. Opening night baseball presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. The Giants and Dodgers having at it. Nobody's been able to cross the plate yet. Here comes the heart of the order for the Dodgers. And this is probably about the fourth year we've said this about this team. Ethier, Kemp, Loney. But every year, they've got another year under their belts, and instead of being the rookies or the young players or the key players, I mean, now they're everything for this team. Obviously, a lot of things have to go right. But if Ethier, Kemp, and Loney, Bobby, all are healthy and all play to their potential, this has got a chance to be a very competitive team.
Absolutely. They'll score enough runs for this fine pitching. But if they don't play well, it's time to break them up. And Ethier kind of mentioned that maybe he'll be the initiator.
Yeah, interesting comments made by Ethier just a couple of days ago saying, he could see the possibility of this being his last year. He's not a free agent at the end of the year. As you look at the numbers for last year, Ethier had an injury. Loney's the most consistent of the three, probably. But Ethier's saying, I make a lot of money and I'd be due more money next year, and maybe they'd non-tender me, or maybe I'd get traded, but this could easily be my last year here.
Interesting timing of that.
Yeah, bad timing, but factual statement, I think. I think he really believes that, and there's Ned Colletti, who's going to have to make the decisions as things go forward, but he believes that it's time to break up this group if, in fact, they don't produce this year.
But I'll tell you what, as a teammate, I would not appreciate that him would verbalize that right around opening day. I mean, you're trying to build a team. You've got a new rookie manager, Don Mattingly. You've got a new coaching staff. They've come out of spring training with great chemistry, a lot of momentum. There's a great feel in the Dodger clubhouse as we walk through. And then you get a newspaper article like that.
Ethier called out on strikes. Number 5 for Lincecum. Opening night baseball on ESPN, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, is brought to you by Men's Warehouse. You're going to like the way you look. Well, one of the follow-up comments made by Ethier is, hey, I'm happy to stay here if they're committed to winning. Now, and this plays into, if you want to read between the lines, you can surmise that this plays into the ownership situation, the divorce between the McCourts, and how's the team going to be settled. And there was a report in the last few days that they're trying to work on a settlement. But obviously this kind of a situation, it can tear apart the franchise. I mean, if they have to give up the team, you just don't know what the future of the franchise is going to be. But, as you guys know very well, both of you came up in this organization. These are the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is one of the key franchises in Major League Baseball. And, Bobby, you just don't think about the Dodgers having financial problems, but it's a possibility.
Possibility, but they just gave their number 2 starter a 3-year contract.
Chad Billingsley. It's not like they're asleep at the wheel and there's no finger on the button. Ned Colletti goes and signs Chad Billingsley to a 3-year contract, and somewhere around $35 million. So, I mean, for a couple days later to come out and say, I'm not sure I want to be here, and are they committed to winning? Give them a little more time and look for some more evidence.
But we also know that Bud Selig turned down the desires of the Dodgers of Frank McCourt to get a big loan from the Fox network. $200 million. And Bud Selig said, no, you can't do that. You've got to maintain your liquidity, your ratios, your assets to debt ratio is what I'm desperately trying to see. What I'm desperately trying to remember.
You found it.
I found it. It was buried deep, but I found it. So right now, are they on solid ground financially? Are they not? I don't know if any of us has the answer to that right now. I mean, they draw big. The TV ratings are big. Everything, all that stuff's good.
I think people are just thinking, what if their worth is half their worth after a divorce proceeding? Then is it enough?
And seeing the Mets go through a whole other situation on the other coast right now financially, obviously. So you're talking about two of the key franchises, big markets, a New York team and an L.A. team with really uncertain financial situations.
And does baseball want to get behind the McCourts and help them hang on to the franchise, or do they want to keep arm's distance away and hope that it moves on to somebody else? Maybe baseball sees it as a black eye, as an embarrassment of having the divorce and the ownership go through this.
Kemp checks the swing, no appeal even. Thought there might be an appeal, but it's ball 4.
Guys, the key here is franchise value, because the great franchises in New York and LA really pick up the other franchises. So the valuation of New York and LA affects Kansas City and Pittsburgh and the other 28 franchises out there. So it's very important to stabilize these markets and get the franchise value up.
Stabilize the whole economy of baseball.
Exactly.
I think you see that a lot in a league like the NBA, where right now the New York, Chicago, LA, the big cities have strong teams right now. Not many empty seats or empty parking spaces here on opening night. A bad throw by Tejada goes into the outfield. And instead of forcing Kemp at second, he'll make it to third. Loney's at first.
Now, Bruce Bochy said that Tim Lincecum is pitching very well. He keeps throwing zeros up there, but he's pitching in traffic. And this is what he means. A couple bloop hits here and there with outfielders that really don't have a lot of range, with Burrow in left and Huff in right. And now his infield kind of lets him down. Little chopper off the plate coming there towards short, a 4-hopper, and doesn't really have to hurry. It's a 1-out play all the way. The only thing that's going to happen there maybe is a little backdoor play from the second baseman coming over to the runner rounding third. But you don't have to have a very quick Tejada there to second base, because it's a 1-out. Just get us an out at second play.
Fielder's choice, E6.
It's interesting. He threw inside on the second pitch of the last at-bat and just missed him. And here he throws inside again, knowing he's a first ball fastball hitter, Oral. Knowing that this is a situation he's not going to let him get a first ball fastball that he can drive. He's throwing that fastball in off the plate, obviously about 4 inches too far off the plate. And now he has a bases loaded situation. But as this pitch is coming, I don't think Uribe could do anything but get hit by it, because he's up there swinging, and Tim says, not at my first pitch.
That's right on the elbow. That one hurts. And it didn't even look like he thought it hit him, but he was just pulling it off like, I'm angry and I'm going to hold it together.
Former teammates, of course, Uribe with the Giants as they won the World Series last year. So the bases are loaded with just 1 out. The Dodgers are 0 for 5 tonight with runners in scoring position. You can see all the base runners that Lincecum has allowed, but the Dodgers have been unable to score a run. Rod Barajas is the batter. He has singled and struck out. If he hits one on the ground, he is a double play candidate. Let's see if he can get something to the outfield. Big swing and a miss at a first pitch breaking ball. Lincecum maybe taking advantage, Oral, of the over-aggressiveness of a hitter in a key RBI spot.
There are so many ways to scout hitters. You scout them how they lead off innings. You scout them how they hit in big moments. A guy that normally takes, sometimes he gets aggressive. A guy who's aggressive might take in key situations. Barajas wanted that first pitch. He was guessing fastball. He got breaking ball.
In the dirt. Good block there by Posey. A ball and a strike. Throw to third, and it's going to go down the line. Kemp will score, and the other runners advance as the Dodgers take the lead.
Dan, that's a great block by Buster Posey on a ball in the dirt and the man on third in a tie game. Ball goes up the line a little, and here's the block. He keeps the ball in front of him, follows it up the line, then picks the ball up and decides incorrectly to try to get Kemp off of third because he had his back to him. Sandoval snuck in behind him. He thought Posey just felt he's not looking. Maybe I could get a bang-bang play here. It's 1-0 instead.
No scoring yet. Got to be an error on Posey, too. Yeah.
Yes.
Only thing it could be. So that's the third error committed tonight by San Francisco. Plus, Posey's been charged with a pass ball tonight. So the Giants are playing some sloppy baseball right now.
Yeah, when the catcher and the runner and the third baseman are all on that same line, it's hard to have that depth perception to know how far that runner is off. And I think Sandoval actually asked for the ball, and that made Posey flinch.
Infield in now for the Giants. Swing and a miss, 2-2.
Posey comes out after the great block, Bobby, and I'll tell you what, Sandoval asked for the ball, and I think it's where you get the flinch throw. Watch right here. He was like, yeah, give it to me. And it was the wrong thing. It's the wrong thing for a veteran to ask a young player. Posey's got the instincts of a champion, and Sandoval asked for something he really shouldn't have asked for.
Foul territory. Belt won't have a play.
I think what dictated that play was the nonchalantness of Kemp as he came off the base and then began to retreat to the base. He has a bit of a reputation that things can go awry when he's on the bases, and I think Sandoval was just feeling that. Possibly if the throw was a little sooner, they might have surprised him and picked him off, but that's not a big league play.
Activity now in the Dodger bullpen. Clayton Kershaw's a couple of spots away. Barajas looking for a big base hit here to maybe cash in a couple. Infield remains in. And it's caught on the line by Sandoval, diving back into third. Safely is Loney, but what a play by Sandoval to save at least a run and maybe two.
Wow, I don't know how the third base umpire could see that he caught that ball. I believe he did, and it wasn't a one-hopper, but it was a very quick move to his left, diving, a play there's no chance he makes last year. Line drive, one step, has the ball in his glove, picks it up, and then slips going back. Very close play with Looney getting back. I don't know how you do when you're playing contact.
Well, this heartbeat right here, where he's showing the ball but not gaining ground on third base, assuming that Kemp would get back. Too much assumption there in that play. It's okay to show the umpire that you've got the ball, but as you're showing it, get back over to third base, assuming that Kemp is still off.
Now the Giants are going to force the Dodgers to make a decision. They'll walk Jamie Carroll to load the bases. So here's Don Mattingly in his first major league game as a manager. Do you pull Kershaw for a pinch hitter?
No, with two outs, I think Kershaw is going back out there. Unless he has a strict pitch count that says that there's no way that he can pitch another inning with two outs, and thinking you're going to get a two-out hit against Lincecum, I don't think is the way you play it. Send them back out there, and Kershaw's the hitter.
And that's the decision Don Mattingly's going to make. So he had the bullpen up just in case the situation had developed a little bit differently. With the way the left-hander was pitching, Don Mattingly wants to leave him in. A run in, two errors in the inning on the Giants. And the bases are loaded with two down for the Dodgers. Kershaw, strikeout and a ground out. And he lays off ball one. The outfielders are shallow and playing Kershaw to hit the ball the other way against Lincecum. Loney at third, Uribe at second, and Carroll at first. Chopper to the right side. Belt will take it himself, and the inning is over. The Dodgers get one, but leave them loaded 1-0 LA at the end of 6. ESPN, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Dan Schulman, Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser, Wendy Nix with you at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers getting a run, an unearned run. 2 giant errors in the 6th inning, allowing the Dodgers to get a run. And in addition to the 2 errors, Pablo Sandoval, Oral, made both a great play and a not so great play all on the same play.
Well, asking for the ball here, really, Kemp, a little lazy. Come on, give it to me. Buster didn't have his legs under him, maybe kind of a snap throw, pulled it because of the error. And then they talk about it in the dugout. You know, I asked for the ball. You know what? This is good teamwork. There's not a white elephant in the room. They're not afraid to talk about it. They're not afraid to figure out who's got the blame or not. And he's talking about Kemp and his head down, and I thought we could get him. And that's why I asked for the ball.
And then Sandoval spearing a liner later in the inning, but not going towards third base, or as you said, perhaps as quickly as he could while he was showing the ball. Might have been able to get a double play. Meanwhile, Miguel Tejada made an error that he'd love to atone for here as he leads off the 7th. Golfs the ball to center field. 1 down.
Just quickly, because Bobby can talk about this, there are things that we talk about as far as instincts in baseball, and we talk about a baseball clock. And it just didn't seem like Sandoval on the one-line drive had a good baseball clock at that moment to know, I anticipate the runner might be too far off third base, Loney, and maybe I can grab him.
I think his foot slipped too, Earl, as he was trying to go back to the base. As he dives and catches this, he picks it up, and then I think he loses his footing right there. And I think that might have cost him a half a step and maybe an out.
Where do you stand on blowing a bubble in mid-dive to catch a line drive off to the left?
Where do you stand? Where do you stand on making a championship shot with your tongue out if you're Michael Jordan?
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with it.
That's fair.
Now we have a situation where Mark LaRosa, who hasn't seen much time at all with the Giants, is sitting in that dugout hoping someone's on base so he could hit for Lincecum and maybe tie this game up.
I'll tell you a thing about Sandoval, though. The reason he lost his footing is because he was on his tiptoes, and he could have never been on his tiptoes last year because he was 40 pounds heavier. He might have actually got up quicker but not been able to get over there.
You can see how if you watch him on an everyday basis, especially when his weight's down and he's playing well, what an adventure he is.
Yeah.
What good theater he is. Remember the golf swing and the little looper to right field. I mean, it's never a dull 0 for 4 for Pablo Sandoval.
And it's not dull at all in the Dodger dugout right now because Don Mattingly's looking for his first career win as a manager. Bruce Bochy's in the other dugout with 1,274 wins and no closer. So this is going to be really interesting 3 innings coming up here.
Swinging a foul back by Belt, who had an infield hit in his first major league at bat back in the 2nd. Drew a walk on a full count pitch in the 5th inning and now continues to battle Clayton Kershaw. Bobby, the quality of the at-bats has to be impressive for a guy in his first big league game.
I'm very impressed. It's only 1 game, but I'm very impressed.
3-2.
Yep.
2 lefties.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get lefties up. Dodgers are going to have some action. This is where you earned your money as a manager.
Well, people are asking why 2 lefties? One with a certain lead, maybe one with a deficit.
Swing and a miss. 2 down. Strikeout number 9 for Kershaw.
It's not always about what hand you throw with down there in the bullpen. Sometimes your role will be when your team is behind. Sometimes your role will be when the team's ahead or tied.
Exactly.
So 2 down here in the 7th inning, and here's Sandoval to face Kershaw. Tim Lincecum has worked up a sweat here tonight. Has had to work hard too because of some of the shabby defense behind him tonight.
Did he just take a pitch?
That is news.
The baseball preview issue of ESPN the magazine is currently out. Aroldis Chapman of the Reds is on the cover, and inside is a story on the Panda, Pablo Sandoval, and his offseason diet and workout program. And look at the difference between the Panda last year and the Panda this year. There's at least 40 pounds less Panda this year than there was.
When pandas grow up, they usually gain weight.
Well, this will be a challenge for him to keep the weight off, but he's on board, and I guess the Giants said to him on his way out the door last year, this is what you got to do. If you want to play on this team next year, you got to get to 240. Reaches down, digs out another one. This time a little flare to right field, and the inning is over. Time for the 7th inning stretch here in L.A. with the Dodgers leading the Giants 1-0. Here on opening night with the Dodgers leading the Giants 1-0. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Watch over 100 live out-of-market games per week online and on your favorite devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. And speaking of details, Bobby, it's all about the details in baseball. It's a game of inches. It's a game of fractions of a second. And we have seen, as we take a look at Diamond Tracks, one of our favorite toys, how that cost the Giants a little bit earlier in this game.
Exactly, Dan. It's all about time and space. It says as the ball's going through space and the runners are taking up the space, how much time does it take? And here it is. And you see to the glove, it was 4.3 seconds of time. Then after it hits the glove, there's another 3.0 seconds of time. And the differential, because the runner was running, was a differential of 0.2 seconds. Bang, bang is what it's all about. If you pick it up cleaner, you throw it a little faster, you run a little slower, it's all the difference in the world.
And sometimes, though, the defense is taken right out of it. With guys like Clayton Kershaw and Tim Lincecum and their ability to pile up the strikeouts. Kershaw's got 9 tonight. The Dodgers batting, leading 1-0, bottom of the 7th, top of the order for Call, Gwynn, and Ethier. Lincecum still in the game. He has thrown 91 pitches tonight. And his spot is due to lead off the top of the 8th inning. So this is going to be all for Lincecum if he can get through this inning. There were some lefties up earlier. There's still activity in both bullpens right now. 1-1 the count on for Call, who's 0 for 3. The right-hander Santiago Casilla, the left-hander Javier Lopez, who was so incredibly important for the Giants in the postseason last year, neutralizing tough left-handed batters. Pops him up. Sandoval, 1 down.
So Dan, Bobby, dominant pitching performance tonight, and not always when you're a dominant pitcher do you have to go to off-speed stuff when you're behind in the count. The fastball is something that you can really go to, and both these pitchers tonight behind in the count have used their fastball. The great velocity, the great life, and some location have got them through some counts. Not always needing a changeup or a slider to get back into the counts. Overpowering heat that makes these guys both very, very good.
26-year-old Lincecum, 23-year-old Kershaw. In a 1-0 battle here in the bottom of the 7th as Tony Gwynn Jr. steps in and takes a strike. Pretty good nights, especially by Kershaw, who's also had, I didn't want to say better defense, less bad defense, I guess, behind him. Lincecum's really suffered because of the defense. This should be a 0-0 game right now. Fly ball left center, Torres there, 2 down.
Well, the key number there on Kershaw's line score also was the 1 in the walk column. 9 strikeouts. When we talked about his maturation as a pitcher, it was about getting the walks down and becoming more efficient. He crossed over the 200 strikeout barrier last year, 200 inning barrier, and he'll continue to press through those barriers with this kind of command that he's showing tonight.
The other number there, 96, Earl, 20 extra pitches because of the poor defense.
Right.
I mean, he could be cruising right now.
Here's Ethier, 1 for 3. 2 down, nobody on, 1-0 in the bottom of the 7th here at Dodger Stadium. Change up, down and away, ball 1.
Every extra out you give the opposing team 3.5, 4 pitches, add to your pitcher's pitch count.
Exactly.
Just missed with the breaking ball. Wow. Not too shabby, huh?
Majestic.
Guess that's why it's so crowded out here. Sure is pretty.
And a strike.
I think you got us both there, Bobby.
You know, as this game's progressing and decision time is upon us, I wouldn't be surprised to see Koo come in and start this 8th inning, knowing that that's what he's set up to do. Let him come in with a clean slate.
Big swing and a miss, 2-2 on the 100th pitch of the night thrown by Lincecum.
You go Quo and then you go Broxton, and you let Kershaw walk out the tunnel feeling really good about the beginning of his 2011.
I think so.
Manage not only the game but the egos.
And there is Quo. He had the 4 elbow surgeries in his career, 2 of them Tommy John, but boy, when he's healthy, he is as nasty as any left-handed reliever in all of baseball. Way inside to Ethier in a full count. Lincecum getting booed again. He was booed when he hit Juan Uribe earlier in the game.
I tell you, Don Mattingly talking about protecting Quo before this season. And one of the ways to protect a reliever is to only get him up once before you get him in the game. So with Quo down there getting hot and throwing in earnest, one of the ways to protect an elbow that's had 4 surgeries is once I get him hot, I get him in the game. I don't get him up and down, and especially this early in the season.
And especially this time of the game, he wouldn't be throwing if he's not coming in the game. So I think we can book it. He's starting the 8th. First move, pitching move of the year for Don Mattingly coming up here in the 8th.
Belt knocks it down. Lincecum covering, inning over. 3 up and 3 down they go. His spot is due up first, looking at a probable new pitcher and a pinch hitter as well with a 1-0 lead for the Dodgers. Where the Dodgers have a 1-0 lead over the Giants as we go to the top of the 8th inning, and it's now time to look at some keys to the season for the San Francisco Giants. Can they come back with the same hunger and determination this year after winning the World Series? All those young pitchers who threw all those innings last October, how will they be feeling come the dog days of August? Brian Wilson is on the DL. A very talented closer for the Giants has a strained oblique. They hope to get him back in about a week or so. And what about the impact of Brandon Belt, who has made the team and has been anointed the starting first baseman? Compared to most teams, though, they don't have that much to deal with. Brandon Belt picking up his first major league hit tonight. Changes as we go to the 8th inning. As Brian Wilson looks on, they hope just a few days away. Hong-Chi Kuo, an all-star last year, a 1.20 ERA, a 1.39 opponent's batting average. He will face Mark DeRosa, who comes on as a pinch hitter for Tim Lincecum. This guy is no fun.
If you look up lockdown 8th inning in the dictionary, if there is an entry, there's a picture of Kuo. The problem is if you look up elbow surgery, he's got some.
That's right.
He's got some entries there too.
4 of them.
And I think the other thing that's entered is broken bats.
Oh yeah,
because his ball really moves and moves late. It's just not a fun at bat, but he's behind here.
DeRosa, as you saw at the bottom of the screen a moment ago, missing almost all of last season after wrist surgery. One of his teammates said although he didn't play, if they had had a captain, he would have been the guy because of all the counseling and patting on the back that he did for so many of his teammates all through the season and the postseason.
Quarterback in college, when I was the Texas Ranger pitching coach, Mark DeRosa was on the team as a utility player spot regular, and I'll tell you what, character guy, and I'm not surprised to hear that report.
And he takes ball 4 as Kuo misses on a close pitch and walks the leadoff batter. Opening night baseball on ESPN, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And in part by Papa John's. Try our new hearty Italian meats pizza for just $11. And Emerald Breakfast on the go. It's not a bar. It's Emerald Breakfast on the go. Humanize your morning. Nate Shearholtz has come on as a pinch runner now for DeRosa. So DeRosa never swings the bat. Sees 4 pitches, draws the walk, and leaves for the pinch runner. The tying run at first. Nobody out in the 8th inning. And the batter was Andres Torres.
Interesting time to pinch run, huh, Bobby? For a sacrifice bunt, for a hit and run. DeRosa doesn't run poorly.
Inside ball 1. Quo has yet to throw a strike.
And that's why there's no bunt and no hit and run on right here. Bruce knows he has to make him throw a strike. First appearance of the year, big crowd coming up from spring training. Make him throw a strike in this situation. Don't give him an out.
Torres 0 for 3, including a couple of strikeouts. Uribe even with a bag at third. Quo's throw to first, not a good one, and Maloney backhands it.
No matter how many years you've played, no matter how much you have veteran status, you still have butterflies. You still want to get off to a good start. And then as the season goes, the good and the bad outings, you gain momentum or you gain calluses and you can come back from things, but they're not built yet in your first outing.
Ball 2. And now they're getting restless.
6 in a row. I'll bet you they didn't put the take sign on once in spring training.
You're right.
Huh?
It's kind of hard to get your swing with the take sign down there, but you do it now.
Old Tim Flannery breaking it out of his bag of tricks at third base. Oh, gosh.
Wow.
Was I wrong on that?
Well, you know what? I think that's a factor of a guy having a 139 batting average against, and Boach saying, you know what? We might get the only cookie of the inning right here. Let's let him loose.
I'm not sure that's.
I know you're not on that page.
No, I'm not on that page.
But
right
I'll take
there.
the other side of the argument right now.
That was no cookie.
1 out of 10 guys are getting hits against this guy.
Fouled back 2-2.
Could have been 3 balls, no strikes. That makes it very interesting.
That 3-0 pitch could have been a ball.
Yeah.
Was a tad up.
Yeah. Oh, he's not giving him that pitch. Not after 6 straight balls.
No, you're right.
Not with us doing
the
game.
Well, I thought the last pitch to DeRosa was close enough for a borderline strike, but you're right. After 3 balls, it's a ball.
2-2 the count. Shearholtz at first. Down the right field line, fading, slicing, and dropping foul back in the seats. Aerial coverage tonight provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned in making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Glad to have the Goodyear blimp with us tonight. Some beautiful shots on this spectacular evening here on March the 31st, where it feels more like July the 31st. Opening night in Los Angeles. Part of ESPN's opening day triple header. Some good action around baseball on day 1. That pitch is fouled off.
Are you complaining about the temperature again?
Nope.
Okay, because I take this temperature for every one of our Sunday night broadcasts and whatever day we get the pleasure of announcing on.
Yep.
This is perfect.
It is perfect. What a wonderful start of the season for these two teams, and we're so lucky to be here to be with them.
Fans in short sleeves, they're not fanning themselves. The Yankees were in parkas and ski masks.
It'll be a cold one in Philly tomorrow too. Full count.
Decision time.
Well,
what's the decision,
What would you do?
I think he's running. He's going to run to stay out of the double play and hope not to run into a double play.
Even with a possible late break because of a lefty on the mound.
Should be easy to read his move. Very mediocre move to first. Relatively high leg kick.
He's going, and it's fouled back.
I wanted to start playing the Jeopardy music as he came set to see if Bobby was going to write. The final Jeopardy answer is he's going.
But he did go late.
He did. He made sure it was a not a run for a stolen base. It was a run then hit.
Once again, video. If he watched him on video before the game, he would know he doesn't have a good move. They watch all the pitches to hit. They don't watch the moves to run. Some teams do.
Not going this time, and it's pop foul out of play.
He got such a bad jump the first time.
Yep.
Bruce took
Bruce
off
shut
the
him
run.
down.
Yep. He says he's just going to be running into an out. I can't do that. This is my late inning pinch runner that we asked about before the game.
Right. And tell you what, you run to stay out of the double play. You don't run to stay out of the double play there.
Exactly.
Well, let's see what's on right now. Freddie Sanchez is on deck. Aubrey Huff behind him. The Giants trailing 1-0 in the 8th inning here at Dodger Stadium. And Torres really battling against a nasty left-hander, Quo. Not going. Yanked foul down the left side this time.
Well, the good thing for the Dodgers is that Quo has found his release point. He has started to pound the strike zone. The 3-0 pitch they let him up for air with, the Giants, and Torres swinging on, has now kind of calmed the butterflies, and he's starting to zone in. He zones in, and that's where we go with the lockdown 8th again.
Mark DeRosa pinch hitting for Tim Lincecum. Drew the walk. Shearholtz pinch running as Barajas looks into the third base dugout. Here comes the 11th pitch of the at-bat. And there will be a 12th. Advantage hitter with every pitch, Oral?
Well, not when you've got a tough lefty, and now he's zoned in. He's throwing a good little cutter now to the inside part of the plate to Torres. I wouldn't be surprised to see Uribe cheat a little bit over towards the bag at third if he's going to continue with that pitch, because you see Torres is fighting those balls off and pulling them foul. The last thing you want is your pitcher to make a slight mistake more to the inner half and then a double down the line.
And why doesn't Shearholtz have this move down by now? Saw it 6 times live.
In the air to right field. Ethier. And Quo finally wins the battle. 1 down.
You're so right, Oral. That 2-0 pitch that could have been ball 3 turned into strike 1. Made all the difference in the world.
I tell you what, you heard Quo's exhale all the way up here just to get that first out of the year and to battle back in that count.
But to have thrown 16 pitches already for a 1-inning guy, and he's still got 2 outs to get. This is a lot of work for him.
We won't see him tomorrow.
You're right. You're right. They got to protect him.
Yeah, usually, as a pitching coach, you listen to managers like Bobby, that the barrier is about 25 pitches. Once you get past 25, it's almost an automatic day off until you get to September and the playoffs.
Here's Freddie Sanchez, and the breaking ball runs down and in for ball 1.
And talking to Don Mattingly before the game, he's extra careful with this pitcher because of the arm injuries he's had. So there's really not many back-to-back days here early in the season.
Signs being flashed by Mattingly. Nobody is up in the Dodger pen. This is Quo's inning. He's the setup guy for Jonathan Broxton. Fouled back, 1-1. Quo, the only left-hander in the Dodger pen. Broxton, who really struggled in the second half of the year last year as the closer. They picked up Matt Guerrier, a quality 7th, 8th inning guy. Signed him as a free agent. And Kenley Jansen is a guy that they are very excited about, a converted catcher who throws hard.
100 miles an hour at times.
1-1. Foul it off again. Starting to get loose now in the Dodger pen is right-hander Mike McDougal, who's a hard thrower as well. At one point, he was about a 100-mile-an-hour guy. He's had some experience as a closer in the big leagues. He's bounced around to a number of teams.
That's pitch count protection on Quo, not actual ability or what he's throwing on the field in the situation. That's just keeping him under 30 pitches probably.
2-2.
And it's also Buster Posey in the hole. In fact, Quo's not going to pitch to this inning if, in fact, he has the opportunity to hit.
Posey getting ready. Aubrey Huff is on deck. Leadoff walk drawn by DeRosa. Shearholtz, the pinch runner, still anchored at first. 1 down in the inning. 2-2 the count on Sanchez. And the pitch. And a swing and a miss. He got him 2 down, and Sanchez is some kind of steam.
Quo's repertoire is 2-seamer, 4-seamer, slider, occasional change, occasional breaking ball, curveball. This, he beats him with a 4-seamer up.
Freddie's a really fine hitter, Earl, and he doesn't miss that high fastball very often.
Now Aubrey Huff, what a key moment. Left-handed batter, number 3 hitter in the Giants lineup. Tying run at first, go-ahead run at the plate with 2 down in the 8th. First pitch swinging, fly ball center field. Quo gets out of it. Giants still by a score of 1-0. Join Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association in helping Japanese children in need. Visit unicef.org or text Japan to 864-233 to donate $10. Standard text messaging rates apply. For more information, visit MLB.com/Japan Relief. I know, Bobby, obviously from your years living there, managing there, you've got many dear friends who are over there that I'm sure you're in contact with a lot. How are people doing over there? How's Japanese baseball doing over there?
Japanese baseball is not going to start. The people are not doing well. It's a real strong and sufficient society that's hurting right now. There's 400,000 people without homes, without anything that they had a month ago in their lives, and it's going to take a lot of rebuilding to rebuild that structure, the infrastructure in the lives of those people.
I know when we were down in spring training in Fort Myers, Daisuke Matsuzaka, Hideki Okajima out donating money and also raising money from the fans who came through the turnstiles, offering pictures and autographs in exchange for donations to the Japanese Relief Fund. And Major League Baseball really getting behind it.
I just was happy to see a plane take off with $600,000 worth of medical gear from AmeriCares out of Stamford, Connecticut, and I had a lot to do with that. I'm proud.
Great. Matt Kemp rips one foul. The count is 0-2 as Santiago Casilla has come on to pitch now for the Giants. In the bottom of the 8th inning, didn't Tim Lincecum deserve a better fate? Gave up 1 run unearned on 5 hits through 7 innings. He's had some bad defense behind him. You can see the numbers for Casilla. Even with Brian Wilson out, and they think it's short term, Bruce Bochy still has a lot of options down in that pen, a lot of depth. Kemp has singled and walked twice. He has scored the only run of the game on that errant throw by Buster Posey. Kemp came home from third. After Kemp, it'll be Loney and Uribe. The Giants looking at the middle of their order, due up in the top of the 9th inning. Big sweeping breaking ball.
So the guy who was criticized about his base running all last year was on the bases that caused the run that gave the Dodgers a lead in opening day 2011.
Maybe there's been a turning of the page.
You guys were impressed with the way he ran the bases in their last spring training game that we watched yesterday.
2-out base hit to right center. Drove in a run. The ball went to the cutoff man in the middle of the field, and as he saw it heading there, he thought he could make it. Made a big turn at first, busted at the second, and when he decided to go, he gained ground on second base in an awful lot of hurry, and it was a good hustle play. Right then, we thought there was some focus and drive that we didn't see in the past.
Kemp draws another walk, his third of the night, and reaches base for the fourth time tonight. You saw Jonathan Broxton is now up in the pen, the closer for the Dodgers, who I think it's fair to say received a mixed reaction during the pregame introductions for the way that he struggled in the second half of last season.
And I think it's fair to say if the finger was pointed at Kemp for their lack of offense last year, Broxton had a lot of fingers pointed at him for his lack of production at the end of the game. It's going to be very interesting here in the top of the ninth.
Here's James Loney, 0 for 3. Runner going. Pitch taken for a strike, throw down, not in time. Kemp steals second.
Garcia delivered that pitch like he didn't even care if the Kemp was over there. It was just right. There was no attempt to think about holding him. No presence on the mound of maybe varying your speeds or doing a look. And Kemp just went on first move and was safe easily. He stole this off the pitcher, not off of Buster Posey. You see how far he is by the time Posey gets the ball. The ball is delivered down there. Okay, the ball bounces, but I'm telling you what, even when it bounces, check out the timing of it. Kemp is going to be safe no matter where that ball is, except maybe right on the bag.
You're right, Earl. He stole that on the pitcher. He stole it easily. It was the first movement. Let's take it. This is one of the guys who doesn't throw over. And that was preparation by Davey Lopes, I'll guarantee it.
And now Loney thinking about pulling a ground ball to get Kemp to third. Runner at second. Nobody out. The Dodgers looking for an all-important insurance run in the bottom of the eighth. He does more than pull a ground ball off the base of the fence. Kemp will score on an RBI double by Loney. 2-0 Dodgers.
He was trying to pull, Dan. You're exactly right. And he got a pitch that was down a little in the zone, a little on the inside part, and he hit it the way you should hit it, on a line.
Now Uribe takes down and away ball one. A run in the sixth on a couple of errors, and a run here in the eighth on a walk, a stolen base, and a double. The first extra base hit of the game for either team. James Loney with an RBI double to make it 2-0 LA. Crowd's alive here at Dodger Stadium now, as Uribe has one of his typical give it everything I've got swings, and he fouls it back 1-1.
Little breaking ball to the outer half of the plate, gets it out in front. Easy to pull a ball when it's off speed pitch, and he does more than that. He drives it. Huff goes over in the corner. That ball's deadened by the wall. Easy run, easy double.
So wrong pitch selection, given the Giants knew what Loney was trying to do?
Well, for me, when I go to my off-speed pitch and you're in that situation, I got to make sure it's something that's pulled foul or pulled up, hit back up the middle. And so, yes, I would say elevated like that on the inner half or to the middle. It's poor execution.
Breaking ball fouled off.
You hear the slow stuff is not bad because you're trying to keep Uribe to hit the ball to the left side of the field to keep the runner at second base. So you don't want to throw your breaking ball in a way that you might leave it up out over the plate and let him punch it to right field. You've got to watch maybe on your fastball a way that they can't just play a little pepper with a first or second baseman. So you might pound the fastball in and throw the breaking ball low and make them hook it.
Fastball fouled back. Uribe to a knee. Lincecum looking at a loss here tonight unless the Giants could mount a comeback in the ninth inning. Although the way he pitched, you'll get a win more often than not.
Yeah, he pitched very, very well. His defense let him down. The offense hasn't gotten him any runs, and he didn't have his best stuff, his Cy Young type stuff, but he pitched well enough to win a lot of games.
Yeah, he was good. Kershaw was great. The 1-2 lays off the breaking ball.
And Oriole, you see so many times that pitcher comes out of the game, he's upset with his team not scoring, he's upset with the defense, he wanted to win. You go inside, you put ice on, you sulk back in the back training room. Kristen Lincecum, he's out here watching this game, he's with his teammates, he gives a darn. And I think that's that fabric that got the Giants to the World Series last year and a trophy.
Ripped down the left field line, but foul.
You know, Bobby, I love what you said in the preseason and even up to yesterday about our predictions and how you think that teams are not, you know, automatically formed right here on paper, that they are built and formed throughout the year. And that's what's tough about the predictions and understanding the character of the individuals and see how they react to all these situations.
I managed for 24 years, Earl, and I couldn't predict what my team was going to be like before the season started. Never mind the other teams. You had to see them play and see them through the season. By June, you know.
Uribe strikes out for the first out of the inning. Well, Uribe's not, you know, a guy who executes and moves runners, but boy, if you're Don Mattingly, you'd love to see Loney standing at third right now with one out as Barajas comes up.
That's an interesting question, Dan, because, you know, with Bobby sitting here, I'd love to ask him the fact that, you know, when do you cut the hitter loose? When do you say you have to get him over, and when do you let him just hit?
I think after 2 strikes, you have to go for yourself and try to do anything you can to get a base hit. I think up until 2 strikes in that situation, with the man on second and no outs, even with the bottom of the lineup coming up, you know you're going to pinch hit for the pitcher here coming up.
But how do you balance? The situation calls for him to move the runner, but the hitter's skill set does not lend itself to him moving a runner. So how do you balance?
Actually, I think his skill set is I know what you mean, Dan, that he's swinging so hard and he's out of control, but he could drive the ball to right center field, and I think he could take 2 shots at doing it.
So the runner still at second with 1 out. Barajas 1 for 3. Chases that fastball running in under his hands. Looking ahead to the top of the 9th, the Giants already down 2 will send up Buster Posey, Pat Burrell, and Miguel Tejada. They're 4, 5, and 6 hitters, with Jonathan Broxton warming up in the Dodger pen right now. Posey the cleanup hitter, then Burrell, then Tejada. The series will continue tomorrow night. Chad Billingsley, who just signed a new contract with the Dodgers, will get the start against Jonathan Sanchez. Saturday afternoon, Ted Lilly and Matt Cain. And then Sunday night, the game we'll have for you here on ESPN, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Hiroki Kuroda, and still scheduled is Barry Zito, who suffered a car accident yesterday, has some general soreness, and they're hoping he's okay. Here's Billingsley.
I hope they make that decision soon so we can prepare for the right guy.
Whoa. Time was called, but the one guy in the ballpark who didn't know it was the guy with the baseball in his hand. Major League Baseball action also continues on ESPN tomorrow at 1 Eastern. It'll be the Astros and the Phillies. Roy Halladay will be on the mound for Philadelphia. And then at 4 Eastern, the Boston Red Sox are at Arlington with the defending American League champion Texas Rangers get their season going. Will be at that game. Josh Hamilton and the Rangers against the Red Sox. And speaking of nasty lefties, how about C.J. Wilson and John Lester?
It will be very nasty, and I'll tell you what, Lester, Cy Young candidate before he even throws his first pitch. C.J. Wilson on the brink of really putting it together. You remember last year he was a reliever to convert as a starter, and how good a year he had. So the Rangers are in good hands with C.J. on the mound. It's just the depth of that rotation after Colby Lewis. Will they continue on and have the same kind of depth and performance they had when they had Cliff Lee there too?
Yep, Tommy Hunter out about 6 weeks right now with a groin injury. They decided to leave Neftali Feliz in the bullpen as their closer.
Thank you for pronouncing that name.
Neftali Feliz. 1-2 the count. A look back at Loney. And the pitch. Yanked down the left field line. Foul.
We'll see two good pitchers tomorrow night, Dan, but you're also going to see two outstanding offenses.
Yep.
And first look that we'll see of Crawford and Gonzalez in Boston Red Sox uniforms. We'll see Nelson Cruz coming back with Hamilton swinging the bat and protecting or defending his MVP title. I think we're going to see a lot of runs scored tomorrow.
A little different than
two
this
great
game.
pitchers, exactly. A little different offenses tomorrow.
4 Eastern here on ESPN. 2-0 Dodgers over the Giants, bottom of the 8th, in front of a crowd of exactly 56,000. 1-2 pitch down and away, backhanded by Posey. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jonathan Broxton has been warm for about 15 minutes down there in the pen. I mean, I'm sure he's happy to get the 1 extra run, but he's been waiting a while.
Nothing wrong with the big guy throwing a little extra first night coming in. He's the one guy that there was mixed reviews when he took the field on opening day. There was some booze sprinkled in there, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens if the leadoff man gets on base. Hopefully for Don Mattingly and the Dodgers, that doesn't happen.
2-2 the count on Barajas. Jamie Carroll on deck. 3-2. Well, here's why the crowd gave Broxton mixed reviews when they brought him in through June the 26th. 16 out of 18, did a great job. After that, blew 5 saves. Look at the earned runs. 25 earned runs in 29 2/3 innings, effectively in the second half of the season. Look at the strikeout to walk ratio, too, how that changed.
I tell you what, Don Mattingly did not let that snowball keep going down the hill, though. He has gotten behind Matt Kemp. He has gotten behind Jonathan Broxton. He has said they are both our guys. They both can produce. They are both keys to our winning. He is not talking about question marks there at all. And for a rookie manager stepping up that early and knowing that that's where he needs to be for his players, I think that's very good timing.
High in the air to center field, but playable for Torres. He'll make the catch. Loney had gone halfway. He heads back to second, now 2 down.
That being said, Earl, I bet you he's hoping for 2 more runs.
Yeah, we have the external view, and then we have the internal view. It's posturing.
A little posturing.
Barajas muttering to himself after that at bat. Here's Jamie Carroll. We mentioned Carroll at second, Uribe at third. The reason is Casey Blake's got some back trouble, so he opens up the season on the DL. So Uribe, who's versatile, moves to third base. Carroll filling in. They've also got Ivan De Jesus Jr., whose father was a good middle infielder.
Who took
Cubs,
my spot.
Phillies, who took your spot, right?
Took my spot when I left the Dodgers. Ivan, what an arm he had, Earl.
Yes, he did. Didn't matter what position his feet were in. That gun was going to get somebody out.
Aaron Miles on deck in the pitcher spot.
He and like Manny Trio of that generation, just forearm shotguns.
Actually, he had an arm a lot like Chris Spire, who we saw today on television as Dusty Baker's bench coach. During that era, they could pick it up and fire it across that infield, put a gun on it, and be amazed how fast from short.
Ramon Ramirez, Javier Lopez, just in case. Ooh, and that hits Tim Wallach.
Get in the box. You won't get hit. Hiding over there by the bench.
You know, he's taking this position so he doesn't get hit with the line drive, and this ball's hooked so far. He's so far
hit him on the wallet.
Got him on the wallet.
That's all right.
Yeah, he's got his scouting report back there. I bet you tomorrow he's carrying more scouting reports. Played the hot corner, Montreal, Dodgers, 3-time Gold Glover. He should be used to that. Oh, he's even got a ball mark on the lineup card.
Three and one. Carroll, the guy will choke up, punch it the other way. Loney still at second base after the RBI double made it 2-0. He was there with nobody out. Then Uribe struck out. Barajas flied out. And again, if Uribe executes, that Barajas fly ball brings in a run. Pitch count mounting for Casilla. He's had a long inning. A strike, full count. A run in the 6th and a run here in the 8th for the Dodgers on opening night. One of 6 games around the majors today or tonight, including Cincinnati with the big home run by Ramon Hernandez off John Axford as they beat the Brewers 7-6. The Yankees beat the Tigers 6-3.
That was a 3-run lead that Axford was trying to protect in the 9th inning.
Not fun for Ron Renicky in his first big league game, managerial debut.
Another fly ball, shallow. And the inning is over. The Dodgers get one and take a 2-0 lead. We'll go to the 9th here at Dodger Stadium. Buster Posey will be the leadoff hitter for the San Francisco Giants. Of course, Cliff Lee signing as a free agent, going back to Philadelphia to help make that rotation so incredibly strong and deep. Zach Greinke out with an injury right now, but he's now a member of the Milwaukee Brewers. Jason Worth signing that big contract to become a member of the Washington Nationals. And Dan Uggla seems to be fitting in very well after moving from the Marlins to the Braves. A lot of people really high on Atlanta's chances heading into the season. Here's Buster Posey to lead off the 9th against Jonathan Broxton. Dodgers 2, Giants nothing. And just missed. Boy, that looked close. At 96 miles an hour for ball 1. You can see that Broxton did some of his worst work against the Giants last year. Posey's 1 for 3. And a swing and a jam shot. Squibber blocked by Loney, and he feeds Broxton at the bag for the out. Good job by Loney to hang with the spin and the ricochet and everything else and to make that play.
Extreme inside-out swing here. This ball's 4 inches off the plate at 95 miles an hour, but Buster Posey's able to get his hands in and almost hit that ball for a double down the right field line. Nice move by Loney to make that play. Broxton's not a spectator. He's actually an infielder making the play. Nice play.
Big first out here in the 9th inning. In the batter now, Pat Burrell. If it holds up, Kershaw would get the win. Lincecum the loss. Loney's had a big hit. Now a nice defensive play in this game. That's twice where he's looked for that outside corner, or only he's missed it by just a fraction of an inch, it looks like.
Fraction being the key word. Tell you what, the Dodgers came into this with all the predictions and all the speculation, and they were going up against the measuring stick, the world champions, and they've shown themselves well so far today. They're not backing down. First reviews look like they're going to be good.
2-0 green light, and a swing and a foul back by Burrell. 2-1 tonight. Chevrolet player of the game is Clayton Kershaw, and with good reason. What an outstanding debut for Kershaw this year. His first ever opening day start, and he more than held up his end of the bargain.
23 years young, and anybody's doing anything before the age of 25 I have great respect for, because I didn't make it to the big leagues till I was 25. So I was toiling around in the first year of AAA and AA, and he's up here winning games and beating Cy Young Award winners.
Driven to deep left field. Gone. Pat Burrell lines one just over the wall in left field, and it's 2-1.
The ghosts of 2010 will start to visit Jonathan Broxton right about now, and he's going to have to beat him off his chest.
Before this inning started, I was wondering if Brandon Belt would get a chance in the 9th inning to hit in his first major league game, and it looks like he's going to have that chance.
These Giants, tough to put away. We saw that all last year, especially in September and October. Tough to finish them off. There's a newcomer to the San Francisco team this year, Miguel Tejada. Inside, ball one. Former MVP, 2002 with Oakland, 6-time All-Star.
Well, something's not right. He's throwing 97, 99 miles an hour. It looks like every hitter's watching the ball come in from center field.
Yeah. 90-mile-an-hour slider, 1-1.
And he was right on it.
At the beginning of spring training, he was throwing about 90, 91. There's Pat Burrell turned around one of those fastballs. Last year, Pat Burrell had 10 home runs after the 7th inning that put the Giants from down to ahead. It was the most in the majors. So he's got some power in that bat, especially late in the game when the Giants need it.
Another slider, and that's a fair ball. 2 down. It's a big out for Broxton. They're back on his side now as the Dodgers are an out away from winning here on opening night. So Brandon Belt in his first major league game. Young first baseman the Giants are so high on will face Jonathan Broxton. Dodger fans, 56,000 here tonight to their feet, hoping their Dodgers can beat their hated rivals, the Giants, on opening night. Pretty good major league initiation. 3 at-bats against Clayton Kershaw and then Jonathan Broxton.
I mean, right there.
Sitting fastball, got the slider.
Smart pitch by a veteran catcher and a veteran pitcher. You lose a run on a fastball over the left field wall, you're not starting out people that are rookies. They've got a chance to tie it up in the 9th with a fastball.
Breaking ball outside. Belt has some power, but is considered at this point of his career as more of a line drive gap-to-gap hitter. He did hit 23 home runs last year at 3 minor league stops, hit 43 doubles, hit 352. The 1-1. Another breaking ball, and it's fouled off to the left, 1-2. So Broxton has not shown Belt the fastball yet in this at-bat.
I think he should here, up out of the zone, Earl.
Yep. I think it's time to speed him up.
Yep.
Go up out of the zone. This is the pitcher's pitch. This is not a pitch that you're trying to get him out with. If he wants to get himself out, that's fine. Speed him up. Look at the reaction on this pitch and decide what you want to do after you see the hitter's reaction.
Pablo Sandoval is on deck should the game continue. Belt in his first major league game. The pitch. Fastball up and away.
A take and a flinch. Out of your hand, barely a ball, almost a strike, but a take and a flinch out of the hitter. He's not sure what's coming because of the 3 breaking balls in a row. I think you go with either pitch, fastball or breaking ball, but you make it a quality one. You don't leave it in the middle of the plate.
I don't think he saw this stuff last year in the minor leagues.
2-2. Slider fouled off.
For me, with a 1-run lead and Jonathan Broxton on the mound right now, and a guy that supposedly has a little bit of a slow minor league bat that has gap power only to left center, I do not give him a breaking ball to speed up his bat to be able to hit a home run with it. If I throw a breaking ball, it will be bounced. It will not be anywhere that he can get the barrel of the bat on it. I'm going to make him beat me to left field, not right field.
Agreed.
Let's see if Ron Barajas agrees. Yes, he does. Or does he?
If it's a breaking ball, he better bounce it.
Oh. He got a piece of it. He got the foul ball, got a piece of Barajas.
That swing right there and that pitch was not about being fooled. That was just being a little bit out in front as a rookie in his first game. He is now on the breaking ball.
Ball's down and in. He swings just a little over this ball.
And down and in is happy zone to the left-handed batter.
Right.
It sure is.
That's right, Dan.
6 pitches, 5 sliders for a guy who's got a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
Now think about it as a pitcher. When does this swing start? It starts when the batter reads that the ball's about waist high coming to the middle, and then it ended up down low and in. Throw the fastball that starts about waist high and make it rise up a little bit. And I know a ball doesn't rise, Bobby, so don't jump me there. But make sure it stays more level.
Yeah, bust him in. Fastball in, game over.
Fastball fouled back.
Nice at bat.
Some kind of hitter.
Nice at bat. Yes, sir. Wow. When you talk about, you dream about playing an opening day. You dream about playing your arch rival. You dream about having a chance to come up in the 9th inning and do something special. Well, this at bat is special already, as far as I'm concerned.
Regardless of the outcome.
Yes.
Here comes the 8th pitch. Home run by Burrell to get the Giants on the board here in the 9th. Belt try to extend the game. Again, the 2-2 fastball and a soft liner caught at third by Uribe, and the Dodgers win it 2-1. Broxton gets the save despite giving up the home run. Kershaw picks up the win. Lincecum pitches well but takes the loss. And the Dodgers open up the season with a win over the Giants 2-1 here on opening night.
A microcosm of the National League West, possibly, and what we're going to see in the next 161 games, that this is going to be a tight race, that it's going to be about good pitching and key hitting.
Congratulations to Don Mattingly. Win number 1.
How about that?
It didn't take him long. And it was a 2-1 game, just the way he liked it.
Well, the difference in this game really was the defense. San Francisco played bad defense and gave the Dodgers a run. And Quo got out of some trouble, pitched a good 8th inning. Broxton gave up the home run, but then got the last couple of outs in front of a crowd of 56,000 here on opening night, at least at the outset of the game. The Dodgers beat the Giants 2-1 to open up the season and open up this 4-game series between these two rivals in the National League West. Let's go.
Congratulations, you're now undefeated as a Major League manager. What's it feel like to get your first win tonight?
Well, it feels good to be able to come opening day and, Brox gets the save, Cole does his job, Clayton does his thing, and we played pretty good defense overall. So, we did some things right, so it feels good.
You talk about Kershaw, 23 years young, but that was a veteran-like performance. What can it do for a young pitcher to start the season off with a night like tonight?
I don't think anything phases Clayton. He's one of those kids, he keeps working, he keeps getting better. He has bad outings now and then, but he comes right back from them. Nothing bothers him. He just keeps getting better.
Matt Kemp, there's been some criticism at times about his job on the base paths tonight. He puts himself in very good position. What do you say to him after a game like tonight?
Not a whole lot. These guys have been working hard, and they're ready to play. he's really worked with Davey a lot with his base running and technique-wise. So, Matt, we look for good things from him all around.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Don Mattingly wins in his Major League Managerial debut. Clayton Kershaw, absolutely outstanding. 7 shutout innings. He strikes out 9, and the Dodgers beat the Giants 2-1 to open up the 2011 season on a winning note here in Los Angeles. Sports Center is coming up next year on ESPN. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Oral Hershiser,